Florida residents, quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The Big O Radio Show is home for the hardcore Dolphins fan. That's why we give you Omar Kelly twice a week. Buckle up. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
Alrighty, not quite the EJD, but whatever, we just got something out there. Hopefully we're doing better now. Hopefully we will get everything going here. Let's see if it sounds better. I restarted everything because I have no idea what else I could be doing possibly wrong at this point in time, so I really apologize. I just have no idea because it looks like everything is normal. So hopefully it's still not working. Is that what I'm told now? Is that what's going on? Because I have no idea what the hell I did. Let me see. Sounds good to me now. It's better than before. Okay. That's not what I wanted to hear, but I was hoping I can get a little bit more than that. Let me pull up the chat board here so we can get going and get rocking and see if it's actually working. Let's see. Used to be clear as a bell. Not 100%, but it's better than earlier. Okay. Working. Let's see. Used to be clear as a bell. Not yeah, it sounds overmodulated. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what the hell I did. I just can't figure it out. I really apologize. I don't know what the hell's going on. In and out, it's better. Maybe XLR is not fully pulled in. No, it is. It is. Everything's fine. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Let me see. Okay, let me see now. I fiddled around with the XLR. I don't know if it did anything whatsoever, if it's actually doing better than it did before. No? No? Okay. Yes? No? Tell me. Give me a heads up now if it's actually sounding any better now. You tell me. Sounds like the volume might be too high on the mic, maybe lower. I lowered it. Is it better this way? Should I lower it like that? Is that much better? Sounds mono. Roll with it. Oh, better than nothing. Yeah, I know, but it's not exactly what I want. You know? Much better? Sounds mono. Roll with it. Oh, better than nothing. No, it's not mono. It's overmodulated is what it is. Actually, I don't know. Roll with it. Oh, better than nothing. Yeah, it's overmodulated is what it is. Yeah, it's overmodulated. I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh, man. Now I don't know what the hell to do. Because I definitely don't want it to sound like this. So, let me try something else. All right, talk to me now. Tell me if it sounds any better now. Does this sound any better whatsoever? Do I sound like normal now? I don't know if it's a cable issue. I don't know if it's a mic issue. So I brought out an extra mic and see if it sounds any better now. So there we go. Same? Okay, so then it's definitely not the mic. I just hate to be trying to figure this crap out now. That's the negativity of not having the show at a full go now, you know, with the producers active and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I am not the technical maven. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. So you guys say it sounds better, but I don't know. Maven. You know what I mean? That's not my thing. So you guys say it sounds better. Oh, it does sound better. It does sound better. Let me see something here. Aha.
How about now, folks? It's got to sound better now, right? Now it's good? I think it's good now, right? I hear you just fine. Okay, I think I fixed it. I think I fixed it. Okay. Okay. All right. I hope it's all fixed now. Hopefully we're all ready to go and raring to go, and we are back. Okay, it looks okay. There we go. Okay, so now the volume is low. Yeah, because I thought it was overmodulated, so now I raised it up. I think it's fine now. I think we're good now. There we go. All right. Love it. All right, we're good. We're ready to rock. Good. It only took us 22 minutes to screw all this stuff up and then get ready for Omar in 8 minutes. That's just freaking awesome. Anyway, thank you all out there for being so patient and hanging in there. I am not this technical snafu. Eventually, we'll get this whole damn show up to speed the way we need to. It's just we're still kind of building up the sponsorships and everything. And so I can't have the personnel that I normally have the personnel helping me out with all of this. So it's kind of the trick here. But we'll build it up. We'll get there. We'll overcome like we normally do. And we'll get it going. Okay, good. Now we're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. I figured out what was going on. There's a little a Premier Reviewer. You reminded me. There's a little thing that I got to fix. That normally you don't have to touch it anymore, and it just goes. But it's something that you got to put it on a microsite USB or some crap like that in the mic part, and once you do that, then your mic sounds normal. If not, it has that screwed up sound. So now I'll remember, because this is the first time it's happened to me while I'm on the air. Sean told me about this when we first started it. So there we go. Yes, and I like how Premier Reviewer says, glad we got it done. That's right, that's right, you and me. That's it. Without you guys, we're done. We're lost. We're out of here. You know what I mean? So thanks to all of you out there. Whatever it is you do, help me out in this. Reach our sponsors, whatever it is that you do. Subscribe, smash the like button, which remember, smash the hell out of that like button. It is very important. We were building it all up now, and now we got to rebuild it up again. Omar Kelly will join us here at the bottom of the hour. I got a bunch of things that I want to talk about, obviously, with the Miami Dolphins. And we've got, all kinds of stuff. Inter Miami, Miami Heat. We got all kinds of things. And if you didn't hear it at the beginning, my thoughts and prayers, obviously, to the Bowden family and the Seminole family. I don't care that they're rivals and all that stuff. If you don't like Bobby Bowden, you're not really human. You know what I mean? It's like it's impossible not to like Bobby Bowden and respect Bobby Bowden. You know what I'm saying? So much love to the Bowden family and the Seminoles out there who are obviously hurting. The good thing for Bobby, I will say, is 91 is a full life. So that's that. He was blessed to actually enjoy a full life. I think all of us would like 91. I think 91 is wow. You pretty much lived a one hell of a life if you get to 91. And Marky Post, I also mentioned, who passed away, the lovely and talented one from Night Court, one of those shows, one of those all-time comedies. For those of us that grew up in that era, obviously. And so I did mention that. But we got a bunch of things to talk about. Obviously, X is back in the mix, and we'll talk to Omar Kelly about that and many other things. Now, I will tell you this about the X situation, okay? And before we get Omar Kelly on, I do want to say this. Obviously, I didn't even think this would happen, to be honest with you. I thought they were kind of drawing the line in the sand. I'm kind of surprised that they did it. But I did mention this in the last week and a half, and I mentioned it to Omar. I said, well, maybe they do the deal this year, give him a little bit of cash, make him happy, and then trade his ass in the offseason. And notice that they redid the deal where they gave him $700,000 more. Then he's got incentives where it can push to 16. And then they guaranteed the salary for next year, but it's only a $12 million salary, so it's not the end of the world. And anybody's going to guarantee him that. And so I ran this by Omar too, and we'll bring it up with Omar. So again, I'm cynical. I'm sorry. I've been in this business 31 years, and I just, I just think that I think they're going to move him in the offseason now. Now that's what I thought was going to happen. Now I'm more convinced than ever that what they're doing now is they allow him to play under this deal. He gets a little more money. He's happy. He goes out there. He plays hard. Notice the soundbite, okay? Let me play the soundbite for you. This is why I needed the mics to sound good too, because then if I can't play sound bites, listen to X.
I'm just worrying about this year right now, man. I'm taking it 1 year at a time, focus on getting better, helping my team out, the best way to win the game. That's it.
1 year at a time. That's it. Just worried about this year. The rest, he gets back his regular salary next year, which he's not going to be happy with. So we have to revisit this again next year. His salary goes back down to where it was before next year. Why do you think? And I know they promised to revisit if, he plays well and he's healthy and all that stuff, which is smart on their part. But I think they're going to let that burden be carried by somebody else. Okay? And New Orleans is going to try to acquire Aaron Rodgers, so maybe they can acquire X and Aaron Rodgers next year. So all that talk about X going to New Orleans, that's probably not the place he's going to go to. It'll probably be somewhere else because the reports are Aaron Rodgers now will only be in Green Bay for a year, and he'll be in New Orleans the following season. So they're not going to acquire X and Aaron Rodgers. They can only acquire Aaron Rodgers when it's all said and done. I think X will get traded next offseason. And let me tell you something. This is actually smart on the Dolphins' part because you pay him off for now. You keep him happy for the season. He's only thinking about this year. He's going to start it up again next year. And so you get him to play hard this year, plays well. He raises the value. You have 2 years. Remember, I've mentioned this several times, right? You're now 2 years removed from the domestic issue. You're now 2 years removed from a knee issue. And his salary is very reasonable. So anybody will pick it up and renegotiate it and give him a little bit more and extend it or whatever the hell they want to do. So I am now more convinced than ever that they resolved it for this year to kind of get through it, and then they'll trade him in the offseason before March when his salary becomes guaranteed. Okay? So, I mean, listen, that's just me. I'm just telling you. Being around this stuff, it's just kind of, it's a business, man. And I think that's what these guys are going to do. And they're probably worried about the long term of this contract and the player with the knee injuries and all of that. So I think that they'll move him in the offseason. So X has to have a good year and he has to stay healthy, obviously. You know what I mean? Because the salary's guaranteed once the league year starts. So if he suffers an injury or whatever, they can get out of that deal. They still set themselves up where they can get out of the deal if he has some kind of a catastrophic knee injury this year, and it sets them back. You know what I mean? But I just kind of get the feeling that they're going to end up actually, what's it called? Trading him in the offseason. So we'll see. I will ask Omar and see his thoughts on it all. And we'll see what he thinks. Okay, we're gonna get Omar in a second here. I'm just making sure Omar knows, because you got to send links for them to join you, right? And then obviously I had to shut down and restart, and so it becomes a completely new link. So I had to make sure that he knows that it's the new link. So we'll get Omar on, and we'll talk a little Miami Dolphins with him. We'll get his thoughts on the craziness going on with the Fins, and we'll get his thoughts on what he thinks is going to end up happening on the long term, because it just kind of looks like this is a Band-Aid for this situation. You know what I mean? And and listen, you needed it for this year. And I think they didn't want to trade him this year. They weren't going to get the deal that they wanted. Also, at this point, you're not going to get the deal you wanted, and you're not going to get the best deal for yourself. The best deal for yourself is after he plays the year, and then at the end of the year, you know where everybody stands in the draft, and now you know what these offers are, one versus the other. And it's too important of a player to trade away to make sure you get his value. You know what I mean? So I kind of expected, them to set themselves up at least. And that's the other thing that I love about this front office is they continue to set themselves up, or they at least try in most contracts to set themselves up in a position where they can stay liquid. And that's very important. Instead of taking monster cap hits and suffering, dead cap money and losing cap space and all those kind of things. And then it forces you to mortgage more of your future because you have less space in the present and those kind of things. This is really smart on their part. It keeps them fluid in the process. So I think that's actually really smart on the Dolphins' part. Hopefully we'll get to talk to Omar about that in a minute here, and we'll get his thoughts on everything going on. Remember, of course, you guys can reach out to us on the YouTube chat board. You can reach out to us on email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. We check that email all the time. So if you have any questions, comments, any suggestions, all of that stuff, send it in. Twitter, Big O Show is another way to do it. And of course, Cash App and Venmo is another great way of supporting us. Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We are going to talk to Omar Kelly right now.
The Big O Radio Show is home for the hardcore Dolphins fan. That's why we give you Omar Kelly twice a week. Buckle up. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show.
All righty. It is time, baby. It is time to talk to Omar Kelly and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report. Call my guy Eric at 305-433-4843. Man, they do it all, whatever it is. Man cave, an extra addition to your house. You want to redo the backyard because you're hanging out more. Call Eric. Great people at EJDconstruction.com. Omar, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning. It's like afternoon for me. I've been up since like 4:30 with my infant.
Okay.
It's like the day is halfway over for me.
So you've had like your second meal already of the day and everything, huh?
I just want to get to the point where we could sleep till 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is fine.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Six would be nice at least, because at least the sun's coming out and there's a reason to get up. At 4:30, you're like, yo, man, I'm supposed to be getting back from the club at this time.
Listen, they say there's something called like overnight diapers or something like that. I don't know, but she pees at 4:30, and when she does not like being wet, and she's up, she's up.
Oh yeah, and they'll let you know. That's the good thing, man. They're gonna let you know what they want, and you know what? She'll be doing that for the rest of her life too. That's the thing. So get ready, my man. Get ready. They'll be telling you the entire time. All right. Oh, let's get into obviously the top story, which is X. And I want to run something by you because I ran this by you about a week and a half ago. I don't know if you thought about it while you saw this X deal. And I told you about a week and a half ago, well, what if they just give him some money this year, keep him happy, and then they trade him in the offseason? And right now, I'm cynical as hell. I'm sorry. This business has done it to me. The way they structured this whole thing, and we'll work on the deal next year. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and your money's guaranteed, sure, when the league year starts. So I almost feel like, okay, once the season ends and their playoff run is done, they'll try to then trade him from that point till March, and then let somebody else have to rework that deal. That's the way I'm looking at it more than ever. You tell me.
I think this is a patchwork. This is a push the can down the street situation. X's main priority was getting next year's contract guaranteed. He got that. Getting triggers that would allow him to get above his own teammate.
Right.
He got that. But yes, is there going to be an issue in the future considering he's going to make less than
back to the normal money?
Yeah,
back to his regular deal, which you'll be unhappy with next year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why if you saw X's press conference, it was like, okay, I'm here, I'm done. Let's get to work. Like, this isn't like a celebration of, but ultimately X won, because they walked into the situation in the offseason
he got his money
and basically said, fuck you. And X said, no, fuck you. And
right.
then it became a fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And then it became a, okay, let's sit down and let's talk about this. And I give Flores a lot of credit, and I give Steve Ross a lot of credit, because Flores knew he had to make it work, especially after watching that team for the first 2 weeks. If his defense was going to have any chance of working, he needed X. And Steve Ross, I'm sure and certain, he stepped in and said, hey, let's stop the dumb shit.
Right. You're right. And this soundbite kind of tells me a lot of it.
I'm just worrying about this year right now, man. I'm taking it 1 year at a time, focus on getting better, helping my team out, the best way to win the game. That's it.
That soundbite right there, that told me that. And I'm sure, and that also tells me that David Cantor told him, all right, we got our deal done for this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, because I know David long enough. He's not going to BS his clients. He's a damn good agent.
Yes.
And so he's going to tell his guy, hey, we got it done, but just so you'll know, it's just this year. We got that problem next year. So, saddle up, get your job done. So one way or another, we get the contract from them or somebody else next year.
If he has a healthy season and he plays to the level that he can play, and he can play at a very high level when he is healthy, yes, it's fair to say, yes, we're going to come back to the table and we're going to reassess the situation, but only if he plays well. And if he plays well, the Dolphins
stays healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, because if he gets injured this year, they've got, again, it's not guaranteed until the league year starts.
So no. In the language, it's guaranteed. It was restructured.
It's guaranteed if he's on the roster and healthy. If they release him, contract's done. They don't have to pay him. No, yeah, it has to be if he has to be on the roster when the league year starts. That's the way
when the league year starts. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not cutting X. Come on.
No, but what if he has a devastating knee injury is what I'm saying, and then they can get out of the deal. That's kind of the way.
Guaranteed. Half of it is guaranteed. No, all of it is guaranteed for injury. All of it is guaranteed for injury.
If he's on the roster after the league year starts and he gets injured, he gets that money. But if he gets injured in week 8 of this year, they don't have to pay him next year the money. They can release him, and it's not guaranteed anymore. I'm pretty sure that's how it works out.
I'd have to look at the fine print, but injury guarantee is an injury guarantee. I mean, from what my understanding is.
You are 1,000% right. As long as he's on the roster starting the league year, from that moment on, whatever happens, it's guaranteed. But before that, it's not guaranteed. At least that's the way I understand it. Let's clear that up. We'll clear it up by Friday the next time you're on, and we'll hash over it. All right. So now that he's done, okay, what's the next step now for this team? Is there any other issues that you see?
You talking about business?
Yeah, business wise.
Oh, okay. Let's talk business. Mike Gesicki, are you going to get him a long-term deal or just hold the franchise tag over his head all year? Next guy, Emmanuel Ogba.
Wait a minute, but slow down on that one. Slow your roll a second.
Yeah.
Hunter just helped his ass out. I mean, I don't mean to make light of Hunter's injury.
Hunter wasn't ready, and maybe if we get ready by midseason, Hunter was way behind.
Right, but it's a lingering thing that you could use. Like, hey, we got the future, we got you. Well, right now you don't know if you have any future right now, unfortunately, because the kid got injured, and now you got to definitely count on moi the entire year. So I'm just wondering, how much does this help Gesicki's situation?
I don't know. Gesicki's in a tough situation, and I've always said he's in a tough situation from this standpoint. Technically, he is a tight end. Style-wise, he is a slot receiver. How do you pay him? He does not do tight end work. He does slot receiver work.
Lots of tight ends are like that. Lots of tight ends don't block.
Yeah, but
they're just big giant receivers, is what they are, bro.
And am I paying Gesicki like a big giant receiver, or am I paying him like a tight end? It's a real
Kelsey doesn't block a damn thing. Kittle does.
Stop. I hate when people do that. Kelsey will block. Kelsey does block.
Kittle will block.
Hall of Fame.
No, Kittle will block. Kelsey tries to get in your way.
Okay, Gesicki can't even get in your way. Let's separate it then. If that's how we're gonna separate it, Gesicki can't even get in your way. So, and I like Gesicki. But here's the complicated thing about Gesicki, and I've always we've been discussing this before the draft. Who do you take off the field for Mike Gesicki now? Like, which receiver are you replacing for Mike Gesicki?
I don't know. Well, that's kind of an unanswered question right now, because we have to get to that point where there are four healthy, right? Yeah. And playing well and all that kind of stuff and all that. Like, I feel great about Jalen Waddle, but you got to get Will Fuller on there, and he's got to stay healthy, and Devontae's got to stay healthy, and so there's a pecking order before you take Gesicki off the field. There better be some healthy.
I will say this to you, and based on what I've seen in the first week of practice, and I think that Mike Gesicki is a very talented, very important player, but I'm not putting him on the field over Albert Wilson. That's just not happening. It's just Albert Wilson on the field is just way too much speed for anybody to handle. You got Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, Albert Wilson, Devontae Parker in the Mike Gesicki role. Like, there's nothing you can do that can defend that.
Yeah. But Omar, you have to have Gesicki out there because you don't have a 6'6" quarterback. You have a 6-foot quarterback, and you want to give him as many big targets as possible. So if you have an Oompa Loompa quarterback and an Oompa Loompa wide receiver in a giant world, you make it that much harder on everybody.
Those Oompa Loompas are fast, man. Those Oompa Loompas are fast.
Well, they better be fast, but you know what I'm saying. Big receivers help a lot.
It's a red zone thing.
Whether it's Rondé Gadsden, whether it's Devontae Parker, whether it's Mike Gesicki, and it doesn't matter what quarterback it is. Even if you're Dan Marino, you want to break every once in a while where you could just throw it up to somebody and they're going to outleap somebody. So the bigger targets and all that kind of stuff, I think Gesicki can do things that Albert Wilson just had the God-given ability. They didn't give him 6'5", so he can't do the things that Gesicki can do at times, and he can make life easy for a quarterback. You know what I mean?
I will say something, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm not scared to say popular opinions. Mike Gesicki did not practice all week. Did miss him, not one drop, and didn't even think about it.
But he's already arrived. But he's already arrived too. So it's not like It's not like you're like, oh man, we need to see if he improves.
Yeah.
You have more question marks on other guys. You don't have any question marks on Gesicki. Gesicki's a baller.
I'm just saying in terms of tight end productivity, tight ends in there. I don't think tight ends have that much of a heavy role in this offense as it's constructed. And I'm curious. The inline guys do, but the other guys, like, I'm curious. I got to see how.
Yeah, but they really haven't shown us. They haven't shown us their cards yet because it's two new coordinators. So we don't know how they really think yet. You know what I mean? This is their offense.
I've seen enough practices to know their cards. They have their style is RPO based. It's a build. Don't think this is a whole new offense. No, this is a build on what they did last year, tinkering it to Tua's strengths, right. and Gaskins' strengths and the limitations of the backs. It's a very interesting offense, and I think it will be a potentially good offense. They have way too many playmakers for you to stick with. And I will say this: if Waddle is healthy and fine, there's no way you can defend this offense. And if the O-line protects. Yeah. There's just too much speed. You like no matter where you go, somebody's got a one-on-one and they're behind their receiver. I mean, they're behind their cornerback. And a safety can only help somebody, one guy. And like how that defense scored, it really is going to create nightmares for opposing defenses. Because
I mean, it's a lot of fun if you can put Fuller, Waddle, Wilson, and Jakeem out
Wilson.
there.
Oh, stop it! Stop! Why did you do that? Why did you just do that?
Because I had to throw, because I knew it would get in your craw, bro. But I mean, hey, he's playing well, all right. So give the kid a break. He's catching everything inside. I'm just saying,
let's just talk him up so we can get that.
You
trade,
put four Blazers.
Let's talk him up so we can get that trade stock up. They need an offensive tackle. Jakeem for an offensive tackle. Remember when I said that to you? Jakeem for an offensive tackle.
4 Blazers on the field. How in the hell do you stay with that? That would be amazing.
Isaiah Ford has made way more plays than Jakeem Grant, and props to Jakeem Grant. So no, Isaiah Ford has been.
I'm an Isaiah Ford fan, but you're just like, man, you give Jakeem no love whatsoever, and he deserves love. Everybody else is giving him love in camp.
You know what it is. You know what it is. This is a Curtis Johnson. For those who know my time at covering the University of Miami, Curtis Johnson is probably the best receiving coach that has ever walked this earth. He's got Hall of Famers. He's got legends that he's coached. He's now coaching the Saints wide receivers. And Curtis Johnson said, number one rule of wide receiver, got to catch that ball. If it's a 50-50, a doubt in my mind that you're not going to catch that ball, I'm not putting you on the field because the quarterback's not going to throw it to you.
Right.
That's where we are. And I will give Jakeem props, praise, kudos.
He deserves it.
He is playing better. He is practicing better. He's catching punch with one hand because he's holding another ball. He's showing you I put in that work. But you know what? He's still receiver number 7.
Damn, that's rough, bro. That's rough. All right, Jalen Waddle. Limp or no limp? What's the deal?
I hate that there is an injury. There is a soft tissue issue. When you, as a professional, when you have an issue and you play and practice on that issue, other muscle parts try to compensate for that issue. And now it appears he's got a calf issue. I'm just guessing. Because he's wearing a compression sleeve. He's not, think about it this way. For those who say he's fully healthy, completely healthy, why didn't he work out before the draft?
No, it'll take a whole year was Tua healthy last year when he was playing?
No,
of course not. Now when you watch him, you can tell that he's healthy and the core is healthy at that point. He wasn't healthy last year.
Is Jalen Waddle fast as hell at 85%? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is the final 2 practices, when he started wearing that compression sleeve, the speed has gone down, the reps are going down, the punt returns lost some of that sizzle, And that's my thing now. He has to be that dynamically quick player. And he's going to push through it, and he's going to keep practicing because that's his nature, and he's a tough guy, and he's trying to prove that, hey, none of this stuff is going to limit me. But I got eyes, man. I've been doing this for 20-something years. I know what I'm looking at.
Well, maybe, and it looks like from what you're telling me, what we're probably looking at is a way that they're going to have to pace him now to the start of the season, where they will have to limit his reps, give him some rest, give him some days off. Also, maybe he doesn't practice on a consecutive basis, things like that. They may have to do stuff like that.
Yeah, people have to understand wide receivers and cornerbacks, they're the ones who get injured the most during training camp just because they do so much running. There's constant, nonstop running. So even Albert Wilson's on a modified program right now. Devontae's every other day. Obviously, you see Will Fuller shut it down. He's not even going to play in the season opener. So his clock or even, starts further. I don't expect him to practice probably till the second exhibition game. Preston Williams probably going to begin the year on a PUP. And that's just a wise move because it allows him to stash him until he's fully healthy. I don't see any reason why you can't make it through the season opener with Devontae, Albert Wilson, and to be honest with you, Mac Hollins has done well. Mac Hollins has been a starter since Will Fuller's been gone. Starter, and hasn't been unseated, and he's practiced well. So
and he's a stud special teamer.
Exactly,
so
he's a stud special teamer.
He definitely is in the mix in the back end of that receiving core because
the starters that ended the week were Mac Hollins and Isaiah Ford, and I can tell you right now, without a doubt, both of those guys earned those opportunities.
Yeah.
People can say whatever they want about these fringe guys and their talent level or what they're capable of. But Brian Flores, the one thing he has always done is if you earn it, you're going to get it. And those guys are out there working with the ones because they earn those opportunities.
Somebody's saying, do we have the most fragile wide receiving core in the history of the NFL?
Which is why you're going to carry 9. You are going to carry 9 into the season. It is what it is. And understand that when they carried this super deep wide receiving core, I was like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? This doesn't make any sense. But then when you look at training camp last year and how they just got watered down by injuries, and then the receiving core was trash and the practices were trash, you sit there and you say, hey, they learned from their mistake last year. And now they got 2 NFL wide receiving units. Like they are legitimately 10 deep, at least.
And you're listening, of course, and you can see it there. If not, you're listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Omar Kelly. We do it every Monday and every Friday here on the show all year long, so don't miss it. Make sure you subscribe to the program so you can catch it, and when you can get the notification when it's up. Don't forget, of course, to smash the like button while you're watching or listening this segment. Appreciate all of you out there with the support. All right, the O-line.
Hold on. Let me just go through this receiving unit real quick with you. Albert Wilson, top performer week 1. Will Fuller, you know who he is. You know what he does. Lynn Bowden Jr.
Top performer in the training room.
Lynn Bowden Jr. has not done a thing. So he's in the danger zone. Alan Hearns had some decent practices, hot and cold.
So we had a good LBJ with the Heat, and we got a sorry LBJ here with the Dolphins.
Listen,
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Malcolm Perry, toast. Practice squad. Robert Foster, he's bald. He's played well. He belongs on a 53-man roster.
Foster on the roster. All right, go ahead.
That wasn't bad. Jakeem Grant, pleasant surprise.
Statue outside the stadium. I mean, it's just going to be awesome. It's going to be a statue of Jakeem scoring a touchdown and Omar in the background writing about it. That's it.
Jakeem is your number 1 trade commodity. Go get a piece that you need for Jakeem. I said it. I remember you heard it here first.
Omar will be doing the induction ceremonies at the Hall of Fame in 20 years for Jakeem. He'll be doing it. Go ahead.
I'll be the inspiration. I'll be the hater who always never believed in him. Isaiah Ford, balled this week. If I gave Albert Wilson top performer last week, Isaiah Ford's got to be top performer this week. Just came out of nowhere and balled.
Right.
Then you got Kurt Merritt. A lot of guys love him. Think he's a
caught a touchdown yesterday. Yeah.
Huh?
Caught a touchdown yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see who caught that touchdown. So I'm glad you pointed that out. Mac Hollins is starter, best special teams player. Legit, got speed, got size.
Second best.
Who's the best?
Jakeem Grant, of course. Come on. What's wrong with you? The guy that gives you field position. The guy that flips the field, as the coach says.
All right. Mac Hollins is the second best special teams performer.
There you go.
You gonna bust my balls about Jakeem till he's gone.
Every day.
Gone.
Every day.
I got what, 3 weeks?
Oh God! Come on.
It's true. He's gonna be traded. I know it.
Oh, they're gonna keep him, bro. He flips the field, man. Come on. He's gonna score like 5 touchdowns this year in special teams alone, and 5 more as a receiver, just to piss you off. At the end of the year, you're gonna go, Jakeem has 10 touchdowns. That's right, Omar. What are you gonna do? You got his presentation ready for the Hall of Fame or what? Come on.
God, I can't even imagine if he scores 10 touchdowns.
Would be awesome. You're in the AFC Championship game if he does that. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
No, they're deep. They're deep at receiver, and props to them. It was a smart move. I would argue to you, deepest receiving core Dolphins have had in 20 years.
Oh yeah,
at least.
May not be the best receiving core they've had, but definitely the deepest that they've had in a long, long time. And they've done a really smart job with that. All right. So how do we look at the O-line? Because I'm still kind of confused, and I'm sure they're still baffled because they can't settle on 5 yet, that they'd love to have the best 5 out there.
I think they've settled on 5. No question.
You think so? You think they're already settled?
Liam is probably the right guard unless he moves this week in practice. And Jesse Davis is the right tackle till the wheels fall off. And Jesse says, it's just soreness, but you know what that means.
So you have Dieter locked in at center, then for sure. Then everything that's happened, it looks like he's not.
Skura hasn't even sniffed first team reps. Okay. Dieter has solo dolo handled first team reps,
which is great.
Yeah. A lot of people stuck a fork in him, thought he was a goner, thought he was dead. Nah, Dieter's still living, Dieter's still kicking, and
you got to give linemen time, bro. You got to give linemen time.
I never gave up on Dieter. I never gave up on. Like there are a lot of guys I give up on. Dieter is not one of them. Solomon Kinley and Matt Skura and Adam Pankey are the 3 backups, and that really is where you are. Is it a comfortable spot? Probably not. I'm pretty sure they're out shopping now for offensive tackle help. They need more offensive tackles. And
are you impressed with anybody on the 5?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. All right.
Robert Hunt. If I'm gonna praise somebody, Robert Hunt's gotten that right guard job down, and he moves people. And I'm gonna be interested to see him in this joint practice this week.
All right. Injury wise, who do we expect to miss this joint practices this week? Because by the way, he really came back strong from that ankle injury. He looked good on the field. Looked good. I mean, I was about to pick on the Dolphins. They should have brought him back slowly from an ankle injury, but they just rushed him back onto the field like that. That was just so irresponsible.
He's still pacing himself. He cherry picks drills. So and honestly, X got himself ready last season. I'm not worried about X. X is going to get himself ready for the regular season. The thing is, they got to practice him more there, or add another cornerback, because Jason McCourty, he don't want to play cornerback. He's like, no, I didn't come here to play cornerback. I didn't come here to chase these young guys.
Yeah, but you got 2 young guys that are kind of showing some stuff, right? The Thrill kid and the other kid you talked about.
Trill. You took Trill Williams and
the other kid. What's his name? They're kind of showing you some, right? They're fighting for the back end of that cornerback roster,
I would
right?
say Trill is. Nick Needham. Nick Needham's doing okay. Nick's
No, the other kid. Who's the other kid? I got to look it up now. What's the name of the other kid that's actually playing all right, man?
Who are you talking?
Why
You're talking about not Justin Coleman.
No.
Terrell Bonds.
Bonds, yes, Bonds. That's the kid. Yeah, supposedly he's showing a little some too.
Hot and cold. It's 13.
But those guys may not be the better option than moving the safety over, who's completely uncomfortable and not confident of doing it.
I mean, considering, the bombs have stopped. The bombs have stopped for a number of reasons, but they have stopped. You could say Jason McCourty. You could say Noah's demotion is contributing to it. Jason McCourty's elevation, because Tua eventually got to the point where he's picking on Noah. It just, and as all quarterbacks should, like, you see a weak link, you go after it.
Right. So it's the only way he's going to learn too. He needs to learn that way too, the hard way. So there's nothing wrong with that either. It's good for both. While it might be degrading for the other kid, but mistakes are the way you learn. You know what I mean? So I always said success is fed off of failure. That's the way it is for everybody, dude, because everybody fails before they succeed. So that's the only way you get to success, is by failing. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan got kicked off his junior varsity basketball team, and then, he's hitting the biggest shot for North Carolina to win their title. And so, that's part of the process.
LeBron lost championships before he actually won some. I guess so. I'm still a Noah fan. I think he's got tons of talent and ability. It's just, to me, the mental part of three guys got the demotion to third team last week. Skura, Kinley, and Noah.
Okay.
And, think about it. Think about how tough that is to digest. Like, you're going to your coaches, hey, man, I know you were running with the ones, or I know you were running with the twos, but I'm going to have you in third team. I'm going to have you third team this week. And, just work your way out. Just keep grinding. And Kinley did work, grind, got back to the second team. Skura did work, grind, got back to the second team. Noah's still there in the third team. And, that's got to be hard. That I really want to write and talk about that. Like, the mental, people don't realize how mentally grueling that stuff is. Like, I remember, by
the way, when you do write that, I want you to include in this, because we can't have it both ways. We can't call it a deep receiving core and then think that the third team guy is really weak. The third team receiver is actually pretty damn strong. So you're not really facing a guy that is not going to be on the team. You're probably facing an NFL receiver that's going to be on somebody else's team.
No, because of injuries, 13 receivers practice squad material. So let's not go there. He's basically
named like 9 guys. So
but he's working 13 receivers. You're just left with the practice squad unit, because the first team has to. The first team is not practicing.
Matt Collins is third team.
No, Matt Collins is first. See, that's where you're wrong. Matt Collins is first team. Because
of all the injuries, you're saying? That's why.
Matt Collins has been first team since like week 1, since day 2, first team. And people don't respect Matt Collins. He goes out there and he plays. He practices.
No, I like Matt Collins.
Matt Collins has roasted Byron Jones a number of times.
He just doesn't have, the track record of all those other guys in front of him. That's all it is. But what Dolphin fan doesn't like Matt Collins, dude?
I like Matt Collins.
He's a total Flores type guy, because he's kicking ass on special teams and playing wide receiver for you. And he had a big catch in that Raiders game. That shows he's got a little moxie too to him. You know what I'm saying? I like Matt Collins. I just view him like you do. It's such a deep receiving core that it's hard for him to fight for playing time if everybody is healthy in front of him, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So who's going to miss the Chicago workouts? For sure, it's going to be Fuller. Hunter, does it look like it's really that bad? It looked really, really bad, like ACL type.
I've never seen somebody get carted off and then come back. Just my personal experience.
No, that's not true. Paul Pierce, bro. Come on. He got wheelchaired off. Come on, bro.
That's wheelchair. Nah, when they bring out the card, it's a done deal.
Usually when they bring out a wheelchair, you're like done for sure, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, wheelchair.
Brandon Jones has an ankle. Albert Wilson to me is a little bit of an iffy situation because he's battling a soft tissue issue. Andrew Van Giegels came back. We'll see. I would take it very cautiously with that one. Jalen Phillips, I don't think he's going to practice. If he does, it'll be a pleasant surprise. Let me think. You got me. The back.
How concerned are you about Jalen Phillips falling behind a little bit because he's not getting a lot of practice time?
He showed me week 1. He's gonna be playing with the training wheels on at the beginning of the season. He's got it. He's got it. He's not gonna play as well as he'll play at the end of the season. But he's got what you need. But then there's a Brandon Scarlett kid that they added in free agency. Woo, pressure player. He had a very strong week. If I had to give a guy like the props for the second week come up, it's Brandon Scarlett, and he looks like he's going to be able to help you as a pass rusher.
Running backs, how's that breaking down right now?
Two are injured right now. Ahmed, and then no, 3. Ahmed's injured, Scarlett's injured, and Malcolm Brown is injured. Malcolm came back, and he's really just the inside goal line tough yard runner. So, we'll see. But I think the key is to not get Myles Gaskin hurt. That's it. As long as Myles Gaskin is hurt, you're good to go.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right about that. I mean, he's the guy that we're excited about because he was playing so well last year before the injury, and then now you're hoping that the line gets better. I know the QB is going to be fine. I don't have any worries about the QB like others do. I think he's going to ball out overall. But if that line is healthy, Gaskin can have a really good year overall, man. I'm really excited about Myles Gaskin this year. I am, which sounds crazy because it's not like he's an established running back, but I really love what I saw from that kid last year.
92 yards a game last season. Like, how do you turn your nose up at that? 92 yards a game.
No, you can't. All right. Overall, Tua, what do you think about this second week? Good.
Bad practice yesterday. Troubling that in situational.
The back-to-back INTs you're talking about.
Back-to-back INTs in a situational drill where your team is trailing and you got to hurry your team down the field to put them in a position to score. Both his first passes were cherry-picked by the safeties. That was troubling. And I had always been waiting, watching, looking to see if that arm starts to take a downward swing. And we're kind of at that pivot point right now.
Oh, you're talking about the dead arm camp stuff is what you're talking about? You're worried about?
Yeah. I mean, he's got to throw, I would say, 200 passes per practice at 2 weeks of practice. So we're kind of at that point now where you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. And the interceptions, they were bad. They weren't like, oh, great play by these safeties. No, the ball just hung up in the air way too long.
And by the way, speaking of safeties, Javon is making an impact right away, right? He looks like that dude already, right?
I'm not gonna give him that dude label, but he looks like the young player that's trending upwards.
Right. But what I mean by that dude is that you can see what they saw in him and why they think he's going to be that impactful player back there and make that what they wanted from Minka. That they're hoping that they're going to get from him. Wait, what? Why do you say? Why you got to put that face? He does everything on the damn field. The kid, that's what they wanted from Minka. The same kind of thing. The Swiss Army knife crap.
No, that's not fair. What Minka wanted to be the free safety and not do that Swiss Army knife crap.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That they're letting
Javon be the free safety, and if you're going to ask me who I'm going to pick Minka. Like
Javon already. Yes, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, and not to say that I was the biggest Minka fan. Minka just clearly did not like his role, which I got it. He couldn't cover tight ends, didn't want to do it. And it's not for everybody. But Javon, I haven't seen him do enough yet. I get what they were doing early. They were like, hey, let's try you this, try you that. Let's do this, let's do that. Let's limit what you do with free safety so that you can digest it and be able to process it all. Now he's processing it all. He's doing the free safety job. That's just it. But I will say he's playing probably half a second slower than he should. And there's no harm in that. He's a young player who's never seen real action.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, overall, that's what I'm impressed is that for a young guy, he's already making a nice transition.
You know, it's funny.
And there's a lot of thinking going on back there in that position.
It's funny that you say, because I always have contextual comparisons of things I've seen in the past. And you got to understand, I covered Antrel Roll and Sean Taylor. So, you know, that's and Ed Reed. So at UM. So that's up there. In the NFL, I really liked Ronaldo Hill. I thought he was very good safety for Miami. And I'm not talking about the Rashad Jones, the strong safety. I'm talking about the deep safety. It shouldn't be that hard of a position to fill, but it is a hard position from a leadership standpoint. So I'm more worried about the leadership, the diagnosing, the play calling, everybody sewing it together, being on the same page, more so than I am, he's a playmaker.
Yeah. Hey, listen, in the end, his job is a lot easier now because they signed a dude that he only has to worry about 2/3 of the field now. So, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, Javon Holland's game is a lot easier now because he's got that dude over there. X
would like help sometime. That's what people don't understand.
You don't need help. You don't need help. But Sam Madison and Pat Surtain weren't ever saying, help me, help me. Darrelle Revis didn't say, help me. No, they love being on their islands so they can have all the interceptions to themselves.
When he's got Hopkins one-on-one with no safety help, he wants some help. He wants some help.
Ask Sam Madison when he's got to cover Eric Moulds. I mean, you know, you deal with what you got to deal with, bro. The monster's in front of you. You got to play the monster. You know what I'm saying?
Eric Moulds and DeAndre Hopkins are two different animals, and Stephon Diggs, different.
They're all badasses in their own right. They were all bad mofos in their own right, bro. Eric Moulds was a big deer, okay, a big giant deer. That's tough, bro. 6'5" and can just run like a deer. That's I don't know if he was 6'5". He was like 6'3", 6'4", but he was a huge guy that could run, man. That was a hell of a player in his day. Anything else? Go ahead.
I want to ask you, did you look at the first year Hall of Fame ballot induction guys that are upcoming?
No, why? What's your question?
My thought process is, if Zach can't get in this year,
I
don't know if he's ever going to get in, because really,
I know it. Yeah.
There's 4 receivers. All of them should have to wait technically because Reggie still isn't in. Reggie's been in line. You know how
this is a hell of a class that just went in this weekend. This is a great class. God.
Then you got DeMarcus Ware and you got Vince Wilfork, who I think both of those guys should be first ballot Hall of Famers. But other than that, the coast is clear. Tony Romo, I don't even think he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh no, I mean, his numbers. It's kind of like Dwight Howard. Like, as much as you dislike Dwight Howard, his numbers are Hall of Fame numbers. And Tony Romo, as much as I don't buy him in a big game ever, that's the problem. His numbers are going to be Hall of Fame numbers, but I wouldn't put him in myself either. But it is what it is. What are you going to do, man?
If Zach doesn't make it in,
yeah, it's a crime that Zach is not. But then again, look, the Marx brothers are out, and it's all because of the one cocaine issue that each of them had. It wasn't like they were on one of Billy Corbin's features where they were drug lords or anything. Yeah, they had a slip up, whatever, bro. Let it go already. They're both Hall of Fame or wide receivers. Their numbers are better than several wide receivers that are in the Hall of Fame, and they're not in that.
I gotta look at that.
Yeah, look it up. They dwarf Lynn Swann's numbers. Okay, but Lynn Swann was in all those big games winning championships, and that makes it. But that's not to say Mark Clayton would have made the same catches that Lynn Swann made and put up big ass numbers too. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's It's so unfair, man. And the Marx brothers and Zach all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. It's a shame.
I don't know about the Marx brothers. No offense to anybody who's a Marx brothers fan.
Well, you're a youngin. You didn't live it, so it's all right.
I lived that era, but I don't know if I would make them Hall of Famers. But
hell yeah. Mark Clayton. Let me explain something to you. Mark Clayton was number 2 in the NFL behind Jerry Rice. When Mark Clayton was playing his ball in the 80s, there was only one receiver better than him because he's better than everybody ever, and that's Jerry Rice. Outside of that, Mark Clayton was the second best receiver during that era. Nobody else could touch him. The guy was a monster, bro. Monster.
Okay.
Great player, man. He doesn't get enough credit for how great he was. An athlete, a freak athlete, nasty, can slam, can squat like 500 pounds. Man, Mark Clayton was a beast, dude. Okay? And go look at his height, and he's squatting 500 pounds. Guy's a monster, bro. I'm telling you. He was awesome. Awesome. All right, safe travels to Chicago. All right?
And all right. Talk to you on Friday.
Yes, we will catch up on Friday, my friend. Thank you very much as always. Appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you later.
You got it.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Omar Kelly. For additions, home remodeling, or custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is the custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
Thank Omar Kelly as always. Give me 45 seconds. We will start hour number 2.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right, we thank Omar Kelly for joining us, folks. Don't forget to smash the hell out of that like button. It is so important. While I was doing the interview, I check out the chat board sometimes. Some of you out there, you gotta slow down a little bit and relax. Okay. I love the Dolphins. One guy goes to me, how can you talk about X getting injured? Don't give us. And I'm not trying to jinx anybody or anything. I'm just trying to say that if he does get injured during this year, they're not on the hook next year for it. They can get out of it. Okay. And then another guy was all mad, well, how can you already be talking about a trade at the end of the year and this and that? Because that's my job. My job is to kind of analyze what's going on and give you all sides of it. Dude, do I want X traded? Really? In the end? No. I just don't want any more freaking problems with the dude. That's all. I'm tired of any of the knee injuries. I'm tired of the contract complaining. I'm tired of he had a domestic issue. There's always something, and this thing isn't going to end. This year, it's quiet for now. That's it. But next year, you think the problem's not going to exist? His salary goes back to where it was. You think he's going to be happy with that? No. So something else, the other shoe's going to fall. I'm just being honest. Would I rather have just a smooth transition? The guy signs a contract and he plays it and there's no problems anymore. No more knee scopes, no more off the field issues, no more contract issues. Yeah, I would love that, but that's what we're dealing with. So it's not that I'm rooting for it or anything like that. I'm just giving you what possibly could be happening down the road with this, because basically what they did was they kicked the can down the road, like Omar said, because it's a Band-Aid for 1 year. And by the way, I talked about this about a week and a half ago. I said, and it's there in the podcast somewhere, where I said, maybe they just give him some money this year to make him happy, and then next year they put themselves in a favorable position. He has a great year. They can renegotiate the contract and then finally end it and give him a couple years and say, hey, yo, that's it. It's done. Boom, you're good. Or if not, they could have the options of trading him. If teams want him, then they'll make the offer. That's it. And what I love about what this deal does is it allows the Dolphins to build up even more value with X going into next season and next offseason. So either way, he either re-signs a new extension where they redo it, or he gets traded. If you don't believe that those are the two options, I can't help you. It's not that I'm rooting for it or anything. I'm just telling you what reality is right now. That's what reality is at this point in time. Let's see. Q Susie says, love Duper and Clayton. How can you not? But Omar's younger than I am. Omar didn't really live, like he said. He's not old enough to have lived and watched Clayton and Duper. You know what I mean? So it's different for the younger folks that didn't watch them, but nobody's ever going to convince me that those two dudes aren't Hall of Famers. I know what great receivers look like, and those two mofos were dominant, dude. Dominant. Big O, is this new X contract make it easier to trade him? It's the same contract. It's just reworked for this year, which they intended on keeping him on this year because they knew that they weren't going to get the kind of deal that was worth his value. So they needed to keep him on this year because they're already like dead set on having him on this roster for this year so they can compete for a playoff spot. Remember, Flo wants to win. We talked about this last week. Ultimately, from day one since he took over, while all these idiots were tanking, and there was never any tanking involved. Ever. They just went young. And they were going to teach their young guys how to win, and eventually they taught them how to start winning games that year. That dude wants to win, so that's why he wants to keep X on the team. About 87 Marks brothers went from all-world tandem to above average. By 90, Andre Reed and Lofton was a better tandem. Oh, okay, that's fine. That's not a problem, but during their heyday in the 80s, they were amazing, and they were good still into the 90s, in the early 90s too. They were still doing good stuff because I'm sure I could look up their stats and they were still good. Okay. Andre Reed obviously is a Hall of Famer in his own right, and he deserves to be there. But overall, I would say the Marks brothers, let me see. I'm going to look up Clayton here and see in the 90s. Here we go. Because he left in early 93, 93. But up until 91, he had 1,053 yards and 12 touchdowns. So that's pretty good. He had a 1389, an 1150, an 1129, a 1011, a 1053, season. Remember, that was a running type of league back in those days. They weren't passing as much as while Marino passed a lot, they pass even more nowadays. Marino would be passing for 5,000 or 6,000 yards in this league at this point in time. The dude ended up with almost 9,000 yards, 8,974, and he caught 84 touchdowns in his career. That's pretty damn good. 8,974 and 84 touchdowns. That's pretty good. And like I said, Lynn Swann had 5,462 yards and 68 touchdowns. But he caught him in championships. That's why. But I mean, Mark Clayton doesn't make those same catches? So Mark Clayton had 9,000 to his 5,000 something yards. It's a huge difference, dude. That's why I'm saying that they don't get enough credit for what they did. Andre Reed, an absolute beast. Watch, 13,000 yards, but he had 87 touchdowns. In 13,000 yards, he had 3 more touchdowns than Mark Clayton, who had 9,000 yards to 13. Shows you how explosive Mark Clayton was, that Andre Reed has thousands more yards and only 3 more touchdowns. So, it just got to look at it for what it is. Mark Clayton, I'm telling you, man. Duper was awesome, but Mark Clayton is as special as it gets. Irving Figueroa, thank you, sir. A little love on the super chat. Appreciate you. And also on Venmo, Ed Marti, thank you, sir. Remember, Cash App and Venmo is the best way to make a donation to our show, because we get 100% of it. On the super chat, they take away 30%. So we don't get it all for the donation of the show. So thank you. Derek says, just got done with my morning newscast and tuning in now, Big O. Great show. What are your thoughts on Hunter Long's injury? How long will he be out? Nobody knows, my man. Nobody knows. We just talked to Omar Kelly about it. We don't even know what the injury is yet. So until we know what the injury is, until they talk to us, we won't know anything about that injury. But I appreciate you. Let's see, what else do we have? Lee Michael Morrison says, Big O, el rey de los gringos, and Hialeah's checking in. Smash the like button. That is so true. Smash it, baby. And the like button, too. Let's see. Ian Kane says, what's up from Germany, Big O? Go Dolphins. Thank you, sir. Francisco Rivero says, morning, Big O. Love to see X get his money and respect. Great job by Greer to keep his MVP happy, at least for a year. Let's see. David Pridham says, dadgummit, another legend is gone. Yes, rest in peace, Bobby Bowden. What else do we have? Big O, will Noah make the 53-man roster and will be active for games? Yeah, man. Don't overreact, Richard. Relax. Let the kid, give him some time, okay? Some of you are already giving up on the kid, like, well, he's going to get cut and all. No, he'll be fine. Give him some time. Uber Beaner says, hopefully he has a great season and we trade him for 2 first-rounders and a third. Could happen. You never know. Good morning, Big O Nation. Big O, can you give a shout-out to my son? Today is Gavin's 14th birthday. He's starting high school next week as a 9th grader. Gavin, happy birthday, my brother. Good luck in high school. Enjoy it, my man. Let's see, what else? Eddie Lepp says, it gives us another year to pick up another CB in the draft, free agent, or trade. Yes, it does, Eddie. You are correct, sir. Francisco Rivero says, you don't trade your MVP, Big O. Losing organizations do that. Greer understands this. He will give X a new deal next offseason. Maybe and maybe not. You never know, Francisco. We shall see. We shall see. The X deal is very reasonable for both sides. Well, I mean, it's only $700,000. The rest is incentives that he has to, reach in order to get it. So yeah, it's not the end of the world. Let's see. Brooklyn Robin, Drew Boo, Mike Monaco, Dami is in. He goes, how can you speculate a trade before we complete this year? Well, Dami, that's my job. It's kind of, I'm here to kind of give you all the angles so that way you kind of know what's going on. Kind of like I said last week, I said, well, maybe they'll pay him for a year, keep him happy, and then trade him in the offseason. Did they rework the deal for multiple years? No, they did not. All they did was, next year's salary is guaranteed if you're on the roster starting in March. That's all they did. They didn't rework the deal. They didn't do anything. And if they cut him or trade him, they're not responsible for that salary. It's the team that picks him up that is responsible for the salary. But since it's $12 million, it's not the end of the world. And then the other team can add more to give him the money that he needs. I'm just giving you the different angles. And did they rework the deal? No. But they did do what I gave you a week ago before it even happened. Yeah, maybe they just pay him off for this year and keep him happy. So far, that's what they've done. It's kind of what we do here, bro. I get it. You're a fan and you're so emotional. You don't want to hear any negativity. You don't want to hear what could possibly happen on the other side because you can't handle it emotionally. You're a wreck. But that's the way it goes, my man. That's how we do it on this show. Omar Lopez is in. Ray Grullon says, I guess let's add Gesicki to Omar's hate list. Ian from Booker says, damn, you love some Jakeem. I give Jakeem some love, bro. What do you want me to do? I think he does a good job overall. I think he does a great job as a returner, actually. AJ Martin says, Jakeem in a trade, interesting. What can you get for him? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think you're going to get a starting left tackle like Omar was throwing out there. Kelvin Smith, I've never seen Omar smile this much talking about the Dolphins. Let's see what else. Ed Marti says, smash and dash visit. I will listen on the pod later. Just left a thank you on Venmo. Yes, you did, Ed. Thank you very much. I gave you love. Thank you for giving us love on Venmo. And remember, Venmo, Cash App, it's Cash Big O Show is the address. Cash Big O Show. Big Mike says, Big O with the jokes this morning. Love it. I got to have some fun, right? We're going to have some fun. Hey, listen, we talk sports here. We're hardcore sports, as you all know it. Way more than anything that you're going to get on 790 and 560 combined. But I'll joke with everybody and have some fun. I'm just not going to be clowning around for 3-4 hours here like some do. That's not what we do. You know what I mean? I'm a passionate sports talk guy. So I will talk sports. And I will bring up all kinds of different subjects that many other hosts can't bring up because they don't work hard enough at working all the angles for you guys. We do. Kevin London says, why can't we get this O-line right? It will regress to I would make a trade now for Grant and get an O-line guy. Kevin, you're not going to get a starting lineman just like that for Jakeem Grant. I don't think you're going to get a tackle or anything like that. And here's the other thing, folks. All right, we got to stop. You got to stop with this microwave society crap. You're just watching right now for this gentleman, Kevin London, that's watching, okay? Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you smash the hell out of that like button, please. But all of you have got to stop already with this microwave society shit. You got to stop. We got to give these people some time to develop. You're watching the center actually develop in his third year, right? Because apparently Michael Dieter they gave him the starting center job and we all thought it was Skura. Even I thought Skura would start early on because he's the veteran. The third team guy, none of these guys are getting a sniff with the first team. So maybe the light went on for Michael Dieter in year 3. We've talked about this before. Paul Soliai's light didn't go on till the 4th year. The 4th year. This happens, ladies and gentlemen. Some guys take a while to develop. You're watching Isaiah Ford kick some ass. Who's to say that Isaiah Ford doesn't become a frontline receiver now? I'm talking about a starter after a few years of bouncing on and off a practice squad, being traded away, then coming back. You never know. Oronde Gadsden couldn't make it in the league, had to go to the Arena League, and then ended up in the NFL finally. Mark Dixon had to go to Canada along with one of the greatest defensive ends that we've ever had here with the Miami Dolphins. They both had to find their way back to the United States. Every player does not develop in the first week, in the first month, or even in the first or second years. Drew Brees' light didn't go on till year freaking 4. We have to slow down. We have to give Austin Jackson time. We have to give Michael Dieter time. We have to give everybody some time to develop. Solomon Kinley suffered a setback. Okay, now he's got to work his way back. That's not to say that Solomon Kinley can't be a starter. And if Eichenberg doesn't become a starter right away, doesn't mean he's a failure. I just wish we had a little bit more patience and give some of these players. Look, I get it. If the guy's a moron and he's a screw up on the field and he's late at practice and he's a malcontent and all that, then I can feel right away in his first year, if he's that dude, then I'm with you. Let's give up on him right away because this guy's a freaking moron. I get it. But if the kid's working hard, like Michael Dieter has for 2 years, he hasn't been able to crack the roster. He's been up and down, hasn't gotten the opportunity. And all of a sudden here in year 3, they move him to center, which we didn't even expect him to be a center, and he starts to play well, and I hope it happens. But I'm not going to be shocked. And that's why this whole shit about, man, we're already giving up on Noah. We're going to, the same people that, like this guy here, Kevin London, he's the same guy that gave up on Gesicki after the first year. Because obviously, if you're giving up on Noah or you're giving up on the old lineman already, then yeah, you're the same person that gave up on Gesicki. And then you ate your words in years 2 and 3. We have to slow down, man. We have to give people time to adjust to a much higher level. The game's so much harder physically, so much harder mentally. It's tough for these young people to adjust. Some of them make a quick transition. Some of them take a little while. But as long as they're being professional in the process, as long as you see them playing hard, then I'm going to give you a break. Okay? Now, if you're a complete screw up, get the hell out of here, dude. If you're the guy that's always late to meetings and you're always having issues with other people and players and teammates or whatever, and you suck, yeah, get rid of that dude. I got no problem with that. But I'm backing up a young man that's busting his ass and trying. He's just young and green, like the rest of us. When we start anything new, we're young and green and we're learning. And we're trying to learn everything from each one of our employees. And so we could get ahead and figure it all out. But, not that it takes us years because we don't have years. Although there might be some professions that it does take years to kind of find your groove. Who knows? Just patience, please. Have more patience with these young people. That's all I'm asking. Now, if the guy was a total screw up in college and they took him in the 7th round and you still don't want to believe because he's a screw up in life, okay, fine. I get it. But that's not the case in any of these. How many people were giving up on Tua last year? Oh, he's too short. His arm's not strong enough. Man, I was tired of hearing that shit all the time. And now Tua's starting to look good. Like last week, I had that segment where, the guy asked, well, are you buying into Tua now? And I said, no, I'm not buying into Tua now. I bought into Tua last year when they drafted him. I don't need to buy now. I already bought low. I didn't get off the bandwagon. I'm on it the entire time. I believe in Tua. He'll be fine. It's just he had a hip injury. And he wasn't healthy last year. I know all the things that were against him last year. So am I supposed to give up on the guy? I that's the part I still don't understand. I'm just sure the Eiffel Tower's on. I looked at the screen. I'm going, the hell's the Eiffel Tower doing off? But seriously, folks, let's be patient, please. Just a little patience. That's all we need. Give these young people some time to develop. Noah's starting to smell to me like another Charles Harris, but I agree, he needs more time. How many years we give the bum Jamar Fletcher? And that wasn't his fault either. He was a zone corner. He was a zone corner at Wisconsin. He couldn't play man, and they put him in a man scheme. And he still lasted in the league for several years, by the way. But he played in zone situations and other stops. It's just we had a dumb front office that, couldn't figure that out. Let's see. How can Noah be a bust? Were no offseason, no mini camp last year. I'm with you, man. I'm with Duck Dog. You are 1,000% right. Irving Figueroa says, Zim, he's not a bust. He's only 20 years old. He needs time and snaps to develop and gain experience. He's only played boundary CB for 2 years after being converted from a wide receiver, and he was a rookie. Irving, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I really do. I love logical, smart fans That's another thing about Noah. The guy was a receiver a couple years ago. He's got to learn the instincts of playing that position. He's a really smart kid. It's going to take some transition. Okay? And Pat Surtain, like I've mentioned many times already, sucked his first year. He was lost. So, again, we just slow down, man. Chris Johnson, code 818, says they're playing in the NFL as rookies. They can't buy beer. LOL. Jackson Noah, 20. Good one, Chris. I love that, dude. I love that. Herman Cueva, thank you, sir. I appreciate your love. David Prinham says Fletcher could have been Breeze. Horn Dog says, what's up, Bo? I really don't understand our Dolphin fan base at times. We've had the crappiest head coach and front office that never drafted people, develop players, or scheme properly. I know. And now we have a front office. We got a hell of a coach. We got a team that's up and coming that went from 5 wins to 10 wins. We're all good. Let's see. Zim Zim says, I hope you are right. So am I. Because I could be wrong too, right? Because I'm human. Let's see. I rarely see rookie CBs and pass rushers make an impact in year one. You're right. You're right. Totally right. What's up, everybody? Mac Hollins reminds me of Aronde Gadsden. Except Aronde don't play special teams. That's the only difference. But I know exactly where you're coming from. There is no other Aronde Gadsden ever, but I totally understand what you're saying. He does have a little bit of that in him. Yeah, you're right. Gary Williams says, what do we do at right tackle? I didn't know that we were in the middle of the season and everything was failing. Can we allow the practices and the preseason to happen before we panic? That's my point. How do you know they don't have a right tackle? How do you know they don't have a right guard and a center and a left guard, left tackle? Let's before we actually panic at anything, let's actually allow these people to get into the regular season and actually play real games that actually count. You know what I mean? And maybe all of a sudden something develops from that. That's exactly my point. Slow, man. Let's take it easy. Let's take it easy. By the way, so you know X's deal. His new deal, his deal was at $12,075,000. His new deal gets $700,000 bumped up, so it's $12.785. Incentives could push it up to $16.2. And then in 2022, the compensation of $12.9 has been guaranteed against injury and becomes fully guaranteed on the first day of the league year. That's the part that Omar didn't understand, but eventually he'll see what I'm talking about. The revised deal in 2022 is in line with the market and should have Howard. Now they will revise the deal, in 2022 in line with the market if he's both healthy and productive. So that'll be at the end of this season. They will figure everything out. If he's healthy and productive, they will rework the deal, or they could trade him, one of the two. And listen, the best part about all of this is it keeps X motivated all year long. He got his money, so he cannot complain anymore until next year. So now he has his money, he's focused, and he and his agent, I'm sure, had the same conversation I'm having with you. You need to go out there, play hard, play well, go out and have a great year, so that way we can demand the Jalen Ramsey deal from them in the offseason, or somebody else gives us the Jalen Ramsey deal. Okay? Because that's something I talked about on Friday. Is he just satisfied with being paid a couple dollars more than Byron Jones? Or does he think he's Jalen Ramsey and wants Jalen Ramsey money? Which, by the way, we could argue that he's just as good as Jalen Ramsey. Or better. I don't know. But we can have that argument. We can have that discussion. It's not like, oh, Jalen Ramsey, yeah, for sure he's better. No, not really. So what is awaiting the Dolphins in the offseason? But in order to get that offseason, X has to take care of his body. He has to take care of himself on and off the field. He has to play hard, which he normally does play hard as it is, and he has to ball out. And he needs to ball out so he can get a better deal with the Dolphins or somebody else. So motivation keeps him there. Plus, this helps push up the value to trade him because now you've got him you still have him under contract. He's got some guarantees next year, which he didn't have last year. So that's another progress for him. He just wants to add more salary on top of all of that. This allows you to get the best out of the player, to push up his value, and to get the possible best deal out there, or you negotiate a new contract with him and he stays here on a long-term deal. Plus, Noah will help all of this because if, as the season goes on, Noah gets time and is able to improve this year and starts to play at a higher level and at a level that you're confident, let's say X misses a week or two or Byron Jones misses a week or two with an ankle injury or something, and Noah steps in and plays lights out, then all of a sudden, I'm telling you, what we'll pick up is the trade talk next year for X. So this also buys Noah a year to get better, to learn the position. Remember, which, the listener brought that up, which is a great point on his part. He's still learning how to play cornerback because he's only been playing cornerback for a couple of years. This is not a kid that's been playing cornerback since he was 8 years old. This is a kid that was a wide receiver at Auburn who then switched over to corner. So he's got to learn the instincts and get the feel for the position, reading and reacting. All of those things will take time to develop. You know what I mean? So all of these things actually help the Dolphins. While they help the player, they gave him his money for this year. He's happy for this year, fine. But it also buys the Dolphins more time for next season. And then when they get to that fork in the road, okay, yeah, we're comfortable signing him, revising the deal long-term and taking care of him. Or, now we're going to move on and we're going to trade him and we're going to use those picks and we'll get ourselves another corner because Noah's ready to go. So we'll groom another corner under Noah and under Byron Jones. And then when Jones' deal is up, because you're going in next year, you will be going into year 3 of that deal. So when Jones' deal is up, maybe the new cornerback that you draft is ready to take over on that side. But we've got to let everything develop, and we've got to give it reasonable time to develop, and then we can react. You know what I'm saying? All right. Agree. Greer restructured that contract to make him earn the incentives and earn the new deal next year. If he busts, Dolphins can pay the $6.7 million, $12 million guaranteed if he gets hurt and cut. Exactly. But he's got to be on the roster starting the new league year in order to get that 12. Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, wake to some extent. Can Xavier Howard be the cornerback to reach their level of Finn Love? Yeah, he can. Why not? If X has, from here on out, he just plays football and plays to the best of his ability and does it for another 5 years. I don't know if you get to Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Dan Marino love. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of players like I love Sam Madison, Pat Surtain, right? They're awesome. I know them personally, all that good stuff. They are loved by the fan base, but it's not like Marino, Taylor, and Zach. You know what I mean? They're up there with that Zonka love. Right? And it's different generations, right? Like you saw when Omar was on with me, Omar's probably, 15 years younger than I am, right? So there's no way he has the same appreciation for the Marx Brothers like I do. There's no way he can appreciate Jim Jensen like I do because he didn't live it. He didn't experience it the same way. He sees it from highlights. You young people out there, there's no way. You can have respect for Marino, but if you didn't see him, it's not the same like those of us that watched him personally do it live. It's different. It's different when you watch Zonka run the ball than you just see him on some fishing show and your dad's telling you, yeah, that guy was a hell of a running back. And that's all you got to go by. A couple of highlights, people telling you, but it's different when you live it. It's different when you live watching Dr. J, Michael Jordan, and Dwayne Wade or LeBron James. You know what I mean? You have a different perspective because you physically watched these people actually do the great stuff that they did in their careers. So it leaves a different impression on you because you have a connection to it. You experienced it. Others who didn't live it, they can see a highlight or two, but they won't have the same appreciation for it. They just won't. It's a different ballgame. That's why when, Omar goes, well, I don't know if the Marx Brothers, he didn't watch it. If you watch the Marx Brothers, how do you not think they're Hall of Famers? Right? I mean, it's crazy. But that's life, man. That's just the way it is. Big O, you're right. The Marx Brothers were amazing wide receivers. They were sick. That was a sick pair of wide receivers. Trey Matters says, same with Peyton. People just don't know how great that guy was because the last 2 years were kind of bad. Are you talking about Walter Payton? Walter Payton was – oh, you're talking about Peyton Manning, I think. You're talking about his arm dying out. Okay, yes. You're probably talking about – yeah, because it's P-E. So you're talking about Peyton Manning, not Walter P-A-Y. So, yes, you are correct. And some people won't even know how good Walter Payton was, right? Like you tell somebody, no, Walter Payton is the greatest running back ever. And, they're young and they watch some of the running backs now and they're like, oh, yeah, I heard him. Yeah, he's pretty good. No, dude, no. You have no idea. It's like that. It's like a Jim Brown. I didn't live Jim Brown, right? I can only go by what others tell me because I did not watch Jim Brown, but I can only go by the greatness of what others tell me and watching it on film and all of that. But the person that saw Jim Brown and saw Walter Payton and saw Emmitt Smith, see, that's different. That's like me watching Doc and watching Michael and then watching LeBron. You know what I mean? I have a perspective that's different than somebody that's younger. Let's see. Marx Brothers and Blackwood Brothers, Killer Bees, defense, Doug Betters. Yes. Yeah, but let's not put the Blackwood Brothers in the same sentence with the Marx Brothers. Okay. I love those teams and all of that. The Marx Brothers were at another level. Oh, man. All right. So thank you all, as always, man, for keeping it locked here on the program. What else do we have? Great job by Inter Miami, defeating Nashville 2-1. We are going to have Alex Windley on at the top of the hour, and we'll have some fun with Alex, and we'll talk about last night's win, which was just absolutely fantastic. Higuain and the youngin, man, Indiana Vassilev gets the goal, the game winner. They've got New York City on Saturday. We'll see if they can make it now. What is it? 6 in a row unbeaten, right? They're 5 in a row right now unbeaten. 2 wins, 3 ties in the process. Pretty good, man. Pretty good. We talked Bobby Bowden passed away, a man that made just an absolutely amazing impact on college football and a good dude. Listen, Bobby was a great coach, a developer of coaches. He loved his players, okay? And I know that, over the years we kind of picked on Bobby because he loved his players so much he gave them all kinds of breaks, okay? And they recruited, some shady individuals at times there. But, I mean, a lot of schools had it, you know what I mean? But I got to give Bobby a ton of credit because he was pure class, handled everything with class, handled human beings with class, whether it was players, media. I interviewed him several times. He was always awesome. You know what I mean? So all the little things that people sometimes picked on, he was always looking out for the human being. And these young people, even if they were lost and they weren't doing the right things off the field at times, he was trying to find a way to get them back on the right track. And it was kind of a father figure to a lot of these young men. So Bobby Bowden, just an absolute legend, man. Absolute legend. And you know what I'm happy about for Bobby? That while it's sad to see him pass away, he still is blessed to have 91 years on this earth. I'm only 54 compared to 91, and I feel grateful every day that I wake up. And I think that once you get to a certain age, you almost have to feel grateful every time that you wake up. You know what I'm saying? So to that, I would say the good Lord allowed him to live one hell of a life. All right. Donnie Uhrig, thank you, sir. Appreciate you giving us some love on the Venmo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Remember, Venmo or Cash App, Cash Big O Show. Thank you, Donnie. Very, very nice of you, man. What else? Marlins, unfortunately, swept by the Rockies. I know I got to address this, but what happened to Lewis Brinson yesterday in that Rockies game, and for those of you that don't know, there was some disgusting Rockies fans somewhere back there that was screaming the N-word. And I haven't read anywhere where they caught that son of a bitch. But, I mean, personally, I would love to catch him and then put him in a room so we can just all kick his ass. Seriously. I mean, how disgusting must you be an individual to have to want to scream the N-word in the middle of a baseball game? And how the mics picked it up. And this is what black players, this is what black human beings have to deal with every effing day. If it's not at the bakery, it's at the post office. If it's not at the post office, it's at an intersection. If it's not at an intersection, it's at a baseball game. It's in an airport. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. Come on. Really, is your life that miserable that you've got to actually insult another group of individuals? I don't care what it is. Gay, Asians, Jewish, black, Hispanics, whatever you hate. Really? You know, the world's full of assholes. And by the way, they come in all shapes, sizes, colors, religions, nationalities. How about just an asshole's an asshole? That's it. How about just treating bad people when they're bad? But you don't treat anybody bad because of their sexual orientation or their color or their religion. I mean, it's so sad. It's such a stain on our society, worldwide, by the way, because the hate is everywhere. It happens in France. It happens everywhere, dude. It doesn't matter what country you're in, Argentina, Canada, you name it, dude. Hate exists everywhere. There's somebody that hates gays, and there's somebody that hates somebody in the Jewish community, and, you know, oh, I've got to go paint a swastika on the Jewish church. Really? Why? Why? Is your life that much more complete when that happens? These are things that just disgust me. And when I heard that audio in that Marlins game, I was like, are you kidding me? And nobody turned that guy in? So what are we saying, that everybody else around him was racist too? They're sitting around going, well, I'm all right with that. I mean, how's anybody all right with that? How is it all right to just punch an Asian person in the middle of the street? How is it all right to spray paint a swastika on a church? How is it all right to scream the N-word in the middle of a baseball game? What the hell is wrong with people? It's sad because we need to be talking about how Lewis Brinson is one tough sumbitch. That kid had, talk about some of you Dolphins fans quitting on Noah and quitting on Tua last year and all that. I can't imagine what you've done to Lewis Brinson. There's a kid that's fought more adversity than anything else. And he's a local kid. We're rooting for him. We're hoping he succeeds. And the poor kid hasn't been able to bat above the Mendoza line. It's taken him several years. Guess what? It happens. It takes him a few years, and that's what we should be talking about. The rise from Lewis Brinson. The way he's playing, the way he's been able to fight back from the adversity, from all the negativity, from all the failure. Do you know how hard it is to come back from failure after failure after failure? That's difficult. That tells me Lewis Brinson is mentally one tough hombre. That should be the story. And we're talking about some guy that I just want to crush because he's saying the N-word. Just freely like that. It's gross, man. It's absolutely disgusting. That made me sick to my stomach. Shame. All right, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk something good. We're going to talk Alex Windley. We're going to talk to her. And we are going to talk about Inter Miami's terrific win last night. We do that next.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty, welcome back. There she is, Alex Windley, ready to rock and roll with us. Remember, you can follow her on Twitter like I and many others do at AAW_1998. Alex, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, Orlando. How are you? How are you doing? I'm good.
I'm doing really good. I mean, it was a good weekend. The soccer team got a win. It was exciting. I agree with you, by the way. You tweeted out during the game that Indiana should be starting in the next game. You better get his ass in that lineup. But, Alex, it's one of those where I know it's not a great team. I still don't think they're very explosive offensively overall. But, man, I got to love the grittiness over the last 5 games. You get 2 wins, 3 ties. You're picking up points in 5 straight games. You can only feel pretty good about what's going on, at least right now.
Yeah, I think this Inter Miami team, Miami has a reputation for being a flashy city with the celebrities, but deep down, Miami's pretty blue collar. I know my parents grew up working multiple jobs, and, there's a lot of people who are into that flashy lifestyle. So in a way, this Inter Miami squad has represented the true Miami, the guy that works, multiple jobs, the guy that isn't necessarily into clubbing and the flashiness, the guy that takes his family out on the boat on the weekend. So seeing this team, fight like that, and, Matuidi was tracking back and there was a sweat pouring off of everyone, even Higuain, he was, putting in tackles and whatnot. It's you're right in how they're not offensively the flashy attacking team that we expected, but, this team, they're starting to develop a bit of a gritty reputation, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not. And defensively, that's where I think it all starts for them. They have found a way to be responsible on defense. I mean, yesterday there were some amazing efforts on defense.
Yeah, I even tweeted it out. Figal and LGP, they had several just brilliant, that was, I don't want to compare them to Maldini or anything, but there was some pretty decent last-ditch tackling, very good tactical positioning from the both of them. And I was amazed at how well the back three, including Christian McCoon, who had a solid game as well. They played like a unit, and it's super encouraging to see after that 5-0 loss to the Revolution that defense get a bit patched up, and Neville working his magic to shore up that back line.
Your thoughts on Marsman? I thought he's clearly an upgrade. I don't want to pick on the McCarthy kid, and those of us that watch the team, we kind of knew that it was a backup that was starting the entire time, and bless the kid, he did his best, but you can tell that there has been an upgrade at goalie.
Yeah, for sure. And in last night's post-game conference, Neville flat out said Marsman gives the team composure, and you see the difference between McCarthy, who a lot of it maybe wasn't his fault, but it's a clear upgrade to Nick Marsman. He came from Feyenoord, which is a big club in Holland, and he's the type of professional that Inter Miami needed to come in at the proper time and just be that rock at the back, so our defense can go ahead and play well and have that security behind them that, oh, my goalkeeper will not make a mistake. He has my back no matter what.
Your thoughts on Gibbs? Because I thought he was pretty awesome yesterday. I mean, I see your eyes open up and everything when I just mentioned it. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm very glad that Chris Henderson, the club's sporting director, he went after him. It was a very good move to get someone like Kieran Gibbs. He's experienced. He's good on the ball. He's a willing runner. He just brings that calmness to that left side that Inter Miami hasn't had for a while. And you see him yesterday combining with Pizarro, who had an okay game, and he made that spot his own. And even though he's not fully fit, in the post game conferences, Gibbs will tell you that himself. He's not completely used to the heat, and he's not fully 100% physically fit, but he gives it his all, and he just brings a different dynamic to that left-hand side that we didn't have with a Breck Shea or Jovan Jones. He's strong. He's willing to run. He had a couple shots on goal. They didn't go in, but he's made this team a lot better compared to where Miami was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it's been a terrific pickup. And then the Vasilev kid.
Oh.
Once they inserted him, I got to give him a lot of credit too. Not only did he play well, but it seems like he got comfortable quickly. And you would figure that a young man like that, who's doesn't have a ton of experience, doesn't know these guys for anything, but he wasted no time trying to make a mark himself. And he was an impact from the second he got in.
Yeah, another very good pickup from Chris Henderson. He's a U.S. international, Indiana. He was born in Georgia. He's played for Aston Villa's youth team. He's made a couple of first-team appearances for Aston Villa, but he came on last night and absolutely changed the game. He got the game winner. Him and Lewis Morgan combined really well on that right-hand side. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up starting together in that same formation against New York City FC. It just works super well. Indiana is the type of guy that I've been screaming for this team to go out. Someone who just needs to run at defenders, be direct, just be hungry, have that anger inside of them to just run at the defense, take the ball, and try to score no matter what. And I'm super glad that he was able to get on last night, because that game was calling out for someone like in Indiana and Federico Higuain just to open it up. Nashville is the type of team to sit down and bunker, so Inter Miami needed someone like in Indiana to come in and just wreak havoc.
So Indiana's a guy, I agree with you, that needs to start. So on the flip side, you just talked about Pizarro being okay. Do you almost feel like they're trying to force this thing to kind of showcase him a little bit too, so they could try to unload him, in the offseason?
Yeah, I think I know Neville is saying Pizarro is a key member of the team, but report from The Athletic the other day did say that Inter Miami is shopping Rodolfo Pizarro just to clear him out, get some cap space, get a new DP spot. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And yeah, he did have an okay game. He didn't really create too much. He held on to the ball well, but the game really started to spread out when Federico came in, Indiana came in. And, as a DP, you want him to do more. Matuidi raised his level. Higuain has raised his level. Pizarro, he's been the same throughout the season, not necessarily raising his level, but he's been an average player. So yeah, it's only a matter of time before Rodolfo ends up leaving the club.
And by the way, yesterday Lewis Morgan was another guy that was just, on fire. And the offense is so much different when you have an Higuain, not an Higuain, a Federico, and you have Morgan creating for their teammates, and they did a marvelous job of that. That's one of the things I loved about watching them yesterday, that those two guys help give their team a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and it showed in this new formation. It's given the guys a lot of freedom instead of maybe playing from the inside out of the club. The team plays from the outside in, which suits the players that Neville has available. Morgan is a wide player. Vasilev is a wide player. Federico Higuain is a guy that likes to drop deep and just roam around the pitch. Not necessarily having a set position, poking his head into wherever he can get the ball. And last night you saw with the equalizer, the two of them, Federico and Indiana, they combined on the game-winning goal. So this back three, this back five that Neville has switched to, it's been a bit of a revelation, and it's definitely something, a formation that though the coaching staff will use going forward, because it seems to be getting the best out of all of these players.
Yeah, it was a lot of. Lewis Morgan yesterday was putting some amazing, like he did last year. Last year he was their everything, and it's just nice to see that the coach has kind of fought through this whole thing and kind of figured out how these guys play. That's the other thing that we don't give Neville enough of a break, is that he doesn't know these guys. So it was you weren't gonna find the right formation and the right mix right away, and then you had to tweak it. So Henderson had to go find a couple of extra pieces to kind of help all of this, and it just seems like things are falling more into place. I still don't know if I don't even think they're a playoff team, but man, at least for the second half of the season, maybe we'll see some more respectable football like what we've watched here the last month.
Yeah, and it's no wonder that the team is starting to get into their stride right at the halfway point of the season. Like you said, Neville is new, and the players, there are a couple new guys here. So yes, it was going to take time. I don't think anyone thought it would be a 6-game losing streak, but it takes time. And you see what's going on with Atlanta. They fired their coach Gabriel Heinze after 13 games. I know there were some other circumstances, with the water thing and whatnot, but it's not, coaching is not as simple as cut and paste. Sometimes it takes time. You see it in other sports. It takes time to really build chemistry with the guys and the new players, and Neville and his coaching staff, and bringing new pieces in. And about the playoffs, I think Inter Miami is only about 8 points off the 7th place spot, which is crazy considering the amount of games that they've lost. But it's MLS and anything could happen. But it's a very good thing that Inter Miami are hitting their stride right at the perfect time.
All right, 2 last questions before we let you go. Alex Windley, make sure you follow her, AAW_1998. They want to know on the chat board, are you a Dolphins fan?
Yeah, I do watch some football. I would consider myself a Dolphins fan. I'm trying to get.
You got orange on.
Yeah, I do.
How about that?
Yeah, I would say I am a Dolphins fan. I watch them every Sunday. I'm still getting into the football rules, but I definitely do tune into them. I'm a Tua fan. Hopefully, Doll fans can give them a bit of time, because playing quarterback is difficult. So yes, I am a Dolphins fan.
All right, there you go. So there you go. For those of you listening that you were asking, and then tell them about the Heron Outlet. When does the podcast drop so you can talk about it?
Yes, the Heron Outlet every Thursday. Ian Hest, Austin Robillard, and we discuss everything Inter Miami, everything soccer. This Thursday, we will have a new podcast out discussing, Inter Miami's revolution, this back three, Neville's tactics, this winning streak, Indiana, anything soccer related, anything Inter Miami related, we cover on the podcast.
There you go, the Heron Outlet. Make sure you subscribe, all right? And support Alex and follow her on Twitter at AAW_1998. Alex, as always, thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Big O.
Always appreciate it. You got it. Be good, Alex. There you go. Alex Windley. Good stuff there, as always. We love Alex Windley joining us here on the program. She does Excellent work there. Thank you all out there for tuning in. As always, got to talk a little. Somebody was like, oh, this soccer. And it's like, we're a different show, man. Yes, football's going to dominate, and we're going to talk a lot of Canes, and we'll talk a lot of Heat. Yes, we know we have to talk about the big three. I get that, and I love talking about it. You can see back there behind me. But we're going to talk Panthers. We're going to talk Marlins. We're going to talk Inter. I'm not going to leave out these sports. And I get it. Some of you, you only like one or two sports and all that, or you hate hockey or you hate soccer or whatever. But that's how we are on this show, man. We're going to talk about anything and everything going on locally because I follow and love all of our local teams. So there you go. All right. So those of you that unfortunately were tuning out or didn't want to follow it because we're talking another sport that you don't like, I'm sorry. Marlins, by the way, got swept by the Rockies. Tonight, they start a set against the Padres. Zach Thompson taking on Joe Musgrave. The Thompson kid's got, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. They're 47-65 in 113 games. There's 49 left. If they cannot win more than one game in a series and they go, let's say, 14-35 in the next 49 games, they will lose 100 this year. Again, the Marlins are at a crossroad now. This ownership is at a crossroad for the Marlins. They better start spending money. They better start trying to entertain because it's just gotten to a point where you can't keep doing this developmental stuff. So you got to do something. I hope they get it done. All right, what else do we have going on here in the world of sports? Oh, congratulations to the Lane train. How about that? Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss, and while in the state of Mississippi they avoid the vaccine like the plague, his team is 100% vaccinated. Congratulations to the Lane train, man. Nice job. That would be impressive if all these teams can get their players to 100%. That's impressive right there. Nice job by the Lane train. I saw that and I was like, man, gotta give him some props there. Oh, can I do a little rip job here before I get back to a little football and all that good stuff? I was watching that the Reds yesterday honored Joe Morgan and his number 8 yesterday. And I got to tell you something because it kind of reminds me of the Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson thing that's going on now. That, Jerry was kind of burying the hatchet and wants to put Jimmy now in the Ring of Honor. And Jimmy jokingly, said, while I'm still alive, and, everybody laughed and all that kind of stuff. And let me tell you something, that moment almost seemed like it was forced by Jerry because he got caught up in everything that was going on. And maybe he realized, wow, this dude's going into the Hall of Fame and I didn't put him in the Ring of Honor. And if he's good enough for the Hall of Fame, he's not good enough for our Ring of Honor. And he kind of, maybe Jerry has come to, he's had the mea culpa. He's come to the realization that he's been a horse's ass the entire time with all of this. And at least he was able to be man enough to admit that he screwed it all up with Jimmy in their time. But I saw the Joe Morgan thing this weekend. And I'm like, okay, so the man dies in October of last year. He dies at 77 years old. And you assholes are going to honor him now. That's Joe freaking Morgan. That's not just a regular player. Okay? We're talking about a Hall of Famer, bro. We're talking about a great player on an incredible red machine team. I mean, that team was sick. Perez and Concepcion and Rose. And I mean, I could just go on and on and on and talk about that sick lineup that the Big Red Machine was. They were just awesome. Those are the kind of players you honor a couple of years removed from it. Joe Morgan should have been honored in the early 80s for this. You go honor the guy after he's dead. How much longer do you need to wait for some of these people? When they're great, they're great. There's no thinking about it. You know, Ed Kaplan had a great line, and those of you that are too young, you have no idea who I'm talking about. But Ed Kaplan was a long-time radio host in South Florida in the evenings. He would start at 10 o'clock at night, and he would be on till the last West Coast score. Okay? Literally. If it ended at 2:45 in extra innings, he went to 2:45 or he went to 3:30. Okay? But normally, you know, he was done by 2 a.m. normally. And Ed had a saying that I live by. Okay? When you're talking about Hall of Fame, if you've got to think about it, he's not a Hall of Famer. He told me that 30 years ago, and he's right. Joe Morgan, you don't have to think about where he belongs on the Reds, team. Of course he's honored. Of course you put him up there. But, dude, could you do it when they're nice and young and they can enjoy it and all that? What is this about when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like a couple years ago, they inducted Deep Purple, right? And like Lord, the keyboardist, he wasn't around to go in. So they had to have the wife be part of the ceremony because he was dead. And it's like, you're going to wait now? They should have been in the Hall of Fame 25 years ago, 30 years ago. I never understand this kind of stuff. How long do we need to wait to honor some of these people? That's like waiting to honor Jason Taylor 40 more years. Why? Why? You honor him right away, dude. You honor Zach Thomas right away. You honor certain guys that it's a no-brainer. I saw that yesterday, and I'm like, you assholes. Now's when you're going to honor the guy? He was a Hall of Fame broadcaster, not just a player. He's a all-world player for your team. Damn, honor him right away. Let's not wait. I like the Heat. They honored Tim Hardaway a couple years back. I don't want to honor Tim Hardaway when he's 80 and he's got to walk out onto the court in a walker. Or I don't want you to wait till he's dead. Oh, yeah, we need to honor Tim Hardaway. No, you asshole. You had to honor him years ago. And they did already. The Heat did it right. The Reds, you're a bunch of effing clowns, bro. I mean, just terrible, dude. Terrible. Hank Goldberg's left nut says, Big O, Ed Kaplan was great. Is he still kicking it? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Ed Kaplan is good. He's just not in our business anymore. Good for him. He was in great shape. He played a lot of tennis back in the day. Yes. Yeah. Ed Kaplan, he was the human iguana. And I mean that with all love, with everything that you could say love with, okay? Because that man he would turn off the AC. The studio was hot as hell. And Ed was like, no, I'm fine. You'd walk into the studio and it was like a sauna. Like, Ed, aren't you hot? No, not at all. I mean, it was just the weirdest. The rest of us crank up the AC. And normally, in studios, you got to have the AC cranked up because they got equipment. So you cannot allow the equipment to sit there in the heat. That's not a positive thing for the equipment. You know what I'm saying? And Ed would, I mean, it was funny, man. He was comfortable in the heat. Oh, a team is great when you can name guys on the team decades later, such as the 70 Steelers or the Reds, and I'm not even a fan of theirs. Of course not, because they leave a lasting impression on you. That's why. Joe Morgan was inducted into the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame in 87. His jersey number. That's what I'm saying. You don't honor the number 8 yesterday. You retire it decades ago, dude. That's my point. You do these kind of things when they're alive. That's my point. I don't care about that. I saw that yesterday and it was like, why? Why now? Do it when he's alive. Makes no sense, dude. I'm sorry. It don't matter to me what semantics you want to get into, Hall of Fame or number or whatever. You know what I meant. I said when they were honoring number 8. It's like, come on, man. You do that alive. Let them enjoy it. Do it when they're young, too. Don't do it when they're 80. I hate that also. Not only do I hate it that they do it when they're dead, I hate it when they do it when they're damn old. They got like 2 years left of their lives. Oh, let's retire your number. Let's honor you now. Why didn't you do that 40 years ago? So he can celebrate by getting laid and getting wasted and raising hell and taking pics and all that kind of stuff. Like there's life still. No, let's honor the dude and he's in a walker. Let's honor the dude. He's like 96 in his wheelchair. You mean you couldn't do it when he was 56? You know what I mean? It's just, yeah. I just find it so ass backwards to do it that way. You know, whatever honor you were going to do when they're dead, that means they were good enough for you to do it when they were alive and spry. That's all. His uniform was retired by the Reds in 88. He died in 2020. I know that. But that honor yesterday, he needs to be alive for that. Marge shot. Smoke him if you got him. Yeah. That was a piece of work, huh? Or a piece of whatever you want to call it. Oh, the Reds did have an openly racist owner, so there's obviously a clown. Yeah, but that was a long time. They booted her ass a long time ago. Irving says, good stuff, Alex. And thank you. Thank you. There we go. We had a pro soccer chat there. I like it. I'm not Big John Stud says, I'm not going to lie. It makes my morning to get up every morning and pound on Pete for ridiculous takes. It feels like when you go to the gym and you come out ready for the day. Okay. I don't know. I guess somebody's getting picked on. Dougie Fresh says, I watched the gold medal baseball game, Japan versus USA. Our lineup was Chico Bales Bonds with the sponsor, but Japan plays the fundamentals in small ball like nobody else. Your thoughts? You know, Dougie Fresh, I didn't see it, so I don't know. I can't comment on something I didn't watch. I didn't watch the Olympic baseball. And the basketball team ended up winning the gold, so that's good. At least they didn't fail there. I like that. Coffrey Gold says, I like Alex as well. There we go. There we go. Alex Windley getting the love. There we go. She'll be on again, man. She'll be on. Michelle will be on. Franco will be on. You know, that's our rotation. We use those folks. They are so kind with their time and talk Inter Miami. And I know that there's some of you that are going to care about the team. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's been actually fun to watch the last couple of weeks, man. They're actually doing something. I can't wait to meet all of you someday, maybe this season, Irving. Well, Irving, listen, as you all know, I mean, some of you may know, some of you may not. We are going to be doing our own Dolphins pre- and post-game show, so you don't have to listen to the political stuff that's played on 560. They've got to follow some kind of script. We don't. So we'll give you wall-to-wall coverage. We'll have insiders that cover the team joining us on the show pre and post. All right. We'll have the press conferences for you. And we're going to be live at Sports Grill in Miami on Bird and 114th and in Miami Lakes. We'll be half the season in one and half the season in the other. It won't be alternating week to week, so you're not guessing. For, the first half of the season, we'll be at one spot. And for the second half of the season, we'll be at that spot. Okay. And if everything goes well, they're expected to open another location in the Doral City Center by the end of the year. And by the end of the year, if it's open or the playoffs, we will do the shows from the one at the Doral City Center. Okay. That'll probably be our home the following year on an every game basis. I would imagine we'll be at the Doral City Center the following year. But this year, I can tell you that we're going to be half the time at the Bird Road location on 114th and Bird, and the other half will be in the Miami Lakes location, which is just off the exit of 154th and the Palmetto, and you go west, that mall that's right there when you get off, that there's an Outback Steakhouse and a Publix, and The Sports Grill is in there. So we'll be at that one. Okay? There you go. Let's see. What else do we have? Charles Cooper says, Dolphins playing in Chicago this weekend. Road trip? Probably not for preseason garbage football. Actually, it's not going to – the practices are incredibly important. Those practices are awesome for 2 days against Chicago. And it's not going to be totally bogus, the preseason. Now, you and I, Charles, probably differ a little bit here on the preseason because I'm a sick boy. I got to tell you. I think the starters are going to play most of that first quarter because I think they'll play the half in the second game and then they'll rest in the third game. That's probably what's going to happen. That third game will be all the backups. It'll be that game 4 of the preseason. But because they have 2 practices with 2 different teams, and then you'll play your first 2 preseason games, I would not be surprised if Tua and company play practically that first quarter. And then the second game, they play a half, and then they're done. So it won't be so bad for those of you. Like, I don't mind actually because it's the Dolphins, right? I'm the guy, I'm one of the guys that actually watches the 4th game. I know it's a boring game for most people. It's all the backups and the scrubberinis and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of like to watch it because I want to know who are the backups. I want to know who might be making the practice squad from this group, that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of geeky in that sense. Look, I watch Summer League basketball. What can I tell you, dude? You know, I don't have a lot of hope in life. You know, I pretty much have got no life, actually, if I'm watching that kind of stuff. But listen, I think there's some sick bastards out there just like me that watch the preseason games and watch Summer League and things like that, right? I mean, I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one that does that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. But I love to watch it. And I would not be surprised if the starters last pretty much a first quarter. And then the second game, you play a half, and then that's it. You're ready to go. You have to be ready to go. You have no choice. So maybe it won't be so bad like the regular first preseason game. Like the Hall of Fame game was unwatchable. Okay, now, I don't care about those teams. So I got to tell you, if it was the Dolphins, I probably would have watched. You know, even if Tua's not playing in that first game of the Hall of Fame game, I probably would have watched because I want to see all the other receivers. I want to see the linemen. Obviously, they've got a lot of issues on the line that they're trying to still figure out. And if, let's say, Jalen Phillips would have been healthy enough to play, yeah, I want to watch Jalen Phillips get after the quarterback and things like that. So there are things that I would have looked forward to even in the Hall of Fame game for the Miami Dolphins. But that's me. I don't know how much of you actually, do the same thing. Let's see. Is that Cacharro? What is that? Caracho, 1978 says, hey, I don't like baseball and hockey. I do enjoy listening to you talking about those sports. Oh, that's very nice. Very nice. The only 2 shows I listen to on QAM is Hockman and Crowder and Joe Rose. Okay, well, you're actually listening to a show on 790 because it's not really a 560 show. It's a 790 show. They just simulcast it because they're a stupid company. Let's see. You send me a bus to Port St. Lucie. All right, we'll send you a bus. And Troy, I think I just answered your question. If you're doing any pre and post. Oh, no, not for preseason. No. We're not doing it for preseason. At least I don't. You know what? I haven't even talked to him. I don't think they want to do preseason. I think we're just doing regular season. You know what? I'll call him today, see if he wants to do any preseason. Irvin Figueroa says, yep, billiard club is actually one of my clients. I have a cleaning business with my father. All right. Herman says, I watch it too. I actually record it. Herman's sick like I am. Goat Volia or Volia or whatever, Tagliavolia, right? Goat Tagliavolia or whatever. I watch Summer League, he says. There you go. Samuel Rosa says, I do it also, Big O. See, so there's more of you sick bastards just like me. Rosendo says, no more 4 preseason games, just 3. Still hoping for the NFL to go to 18 games in 2 bye weeks and a Super Bowl on a 3-day weekend. Oh, it's going to happen. The 18 games is coming. This was just kind of laying the groundwork, and then they get more money, and then they'll produce more money for another one, and the players will get it. Charles Cooper says, I'll watch, but not willing to pay for a preseason game. Oh, I get what you're saying. Going to a yeah. Yeah, no, I get you there. Ragin says, I'm a lifelong hardcore Dolphins fan. If they're playing, I'm watching. I'm with you. Ray says, howdy-o. I would presume the starters will be through the third quarter in the second game since there's only 3 preseason games. I'm not sure, Ray. I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Eddie Lepp says, 100%. Oh, I love watching the preseason games. Love to watch the young guys. There you go. See? And Antonio Gutierrez says, yeah, he also is watching the preseason and summer league games. There you go. So there's a bunch of you sick bastards out there like me. LA Ram says, I love the show. Keep up the good work. So he's a Rams fan and watching our show. Are you also like a Dolphins fan too or something? Do you have like 2 teams? Or are you like a Heat fan or are you from Miami or something? I'm intrigued, LA Rams. Because you love the show, but it's not like I'm talking about LA teams. Now, I do talk about Los Angeles because I visit Los Angeles every once in a while. Felix Soto's in Port St. Lucie. There you go, baby. Samuel says, the Dolphins, every time they play, I watch the Dolphins, including preseason, watching baseball, hockey, and soccer, all Miami teams, college, the U. All right, there you go. Big John Stud says, 10 minutes from my house. Fantastic. All right. Well, we'll see you there, my brother. Recording preseason is the way to go so you can skip through all the nonsense. Amen to that, Hank. Let's see. NorCal says, November 6th, hundreds of worldwide Dolphin Club members will party at Bo Campers in Oakland Park area. All fun fans. I'll be there. November 6th, hanging out with you guys. Any chance we trade Brissett to the Colts? They need a backup quarterback, dude. They got to keep Brissett. Okay? So, no, I don't think so. And they already had Brissett there. That's not the answer. Brissett is a guy that just kind of keeps the seat warm for the starter. He's not really a guy. If they're going to trade for somebody, they're going to trade for somebody else that has starter potential. And I hate to, pick on Brissett, but he's not really a starter. He's really a backup. Okay? Robert Mesa says, take me back to the late 90s to the early 2000s. QAM, Neil Rogers, Hank Goldberg, Warren Cromartie, Boog, Big O, Ed Kaplan. Thank you, sir. Those were fun days, man. That's when we were a real sports station, not the garbage that they have now. Don Parlamento says, I love football. I can watch any game anytime. Raiden Chris 29 says, football is football. I've gone to plenty of Raiders preseason games because it's cheap and it's fun. I'm a Dolphins fan, but live in California. EJD is in the house. No news on Hunter. We have no idea. They keep that stuff, so they're not going to tell us anything. LA Rams says, just passing through. Okay. From Santa Monica, Los Angeles, California. I got you. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you for watching and supporting. Ian from Brooklyn says, I watch all the preseason games. If it's Dolphins, I'm all in. You can't get me to miss some up and come in Young Bucks. Yep, I'm with you. De'Aaron King, what a smart kid. How's it going on? Let me talk a little bit about that. So De'Aaron King ends up signing an NIL deal with the Panthers. And I got to tell you something. I know this is really smart by De'Aaron King and awesome for him because we really don't know if he's going to be an NFL quarterback. So, young man, make as much money as you can. If you can get your degree, get your degree. Get as much as you can to set up your life. You know what I mean? I am rooting for De'Aaron King to get that done. While I don't necessarily believe he's an NFL quarterback, but There's no doubt he's the heart and soul of that Canes offense. And you're only here for a short time. Might as well milk it. But I got to tell you who the real winner is in all of this. The Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are starting something that others will now follow in other parts of the country. And follow me on this now. Florida Panthers are not the Miami Dolphins. They're not the Canes, and they're not the Heat. Can we all agree on that? Right? Those three teams have all of our attention. This show will be dominated by Dolphins, Canes, and Heat talk more often than not. Yes, we will talk about other sports because I love all the other sports, but obviously I'm not going to talk about them nearly as much as I talk about the Dolphins, Canes, and the Heat, right? The Panthers know that they need to market their team as much as possible. It's not just enough to win. You got to do more and entertain and give people another reason why to like you, right? And in a way, look, you may not be a soccer fan, right? But Alex Windley, by saying she's a Dolphins fan, you're a Dolphins fan, but you don't like soccer. But you know what? You heard Alex Windley. She's cool. She likes the Dolphins. So now you're saying, I don't like soccer, but I like her because she likes the Dolphins. And you just might give Alex a shot and listen to her, right? Well, there's a lot of people that are on the fence about hockey, don't like hockey, don't know squat about hockey, all that kind of stuff, right? But they love their Canes, and they love De'Aaron King. So now De'Aaron King is going to be selling hockey. Social media, the like, he'll be tweeting out their stuff, their paraphernalia, all that kind of stuff, right? So all of a sudden now, you may not be a hockey fan, but you're a De'Aaron King fan, so maybe now, excuse me, you'll give hockey a chance. You'll give the Panthers a chance. I mean, the Marlins should sign like 10 players to NIL deals. They need as much marketing as possible, and most UM players are more popular than their players. Smart move by the Panthers, dude. You picked a great young man. That's the other thing about De'Aaron King. Not only is he a terrific talent, right? Not only is he an electrifying player in college, not only is he the best player, one of the best players on that offense, right? And overall on that team, but then now you're also getting a great human being too. And it's just a great job by the Panthers. And I don't know who's in charge of their marketing. I'm not exactly sure whose idea it was, but whoever's idea it was, that's awesome, man. Smart as hell. That is just mad props to the Panthers on that one. Because he's going to help get some people to cross over. I'm not telling you thousands and thousands are going to cross over, but he's going to help some people cross over. And people are going to sympathize more with the Panthers because they're being supportive of the University of Miami, which, by the way, that's another thing. So there's a pro team that is also supporting the kids at the University of Miami in a sense. It's pretty cool, which I think that will make – the Panther organization, I can't say enough good things about them. I was talking about them last week, that what Viola and Sifu have done, they're just great owners, and what they're doing at the War Memorial and redoing that entire thing and putting in a couple of rinks and everything so people can fall in love with hockey and do a little skating and become a little bit more open to the sport. And see, what the Panthers have to do is what the Heat did to us, because we were strictly a football town. Now we're also a basketball town. Now our ratings are through the roof for the NBA playoffs and the finals. We provide some of the best ratings in our market nationally without the Heat playing. So it shows that we support the Heat, but we also support the sport of basketball because a lot of eyes are watching it here in South Florida. And that's Pat Riley that converted us as a town to be a basketball town and love basketball and passionately follow it. Think about this. We're geeking out and watching Summer League. That tells you how much basketball means to us. We're freaking watching Summer League. It's amazing. That's Pat Riley. He made this town a basketball town, not just a football town. Hard to do. Now the Panthers have to find a way to make basketball as a what's that called? A household name. They've got to make the Panthers the household name that the Dolphins, the Canes, and the Heat are. Those are our three household sports names in South Florida. Panthers haven't crossed over. Marlins haven't crossed over. Inter Miami hasn't crossed over. They have their niche fans, but they don't have enough of us. That's the problem. And this is a way that you do it, and it's super smart on the Panthers' part. Super smart. John Burgos says, I've been a fan of Big O since 2013 when you worked at 560. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Hey, O, more London games this year. What do you think of the games being played overseas? I hate when the Finns lose a home game. Do you think the NFL will ever expand to Europe? I think they will eventually. And by the way, they're not losing a home game this year. That's the Jags home game. Okay? So they have in the past, but this one specifically is not the Dolphins home game. It's the Jaguars home game. I'm 99.9% sure of that. But they are going to London. Now, I will tell you this. We're going to be doing our pregame show at 7:30 in the morning, leading up to that 9:30 kickoff, and we're going to be serving breakfast at Sports Grill. So, Sports Grill and breakfast with the Dolphins. So you can have your pancakes or your French toast, some scrambled eggs, some bacon, sausage, whatever, all that stuff, and enjoy the game. How awesome is that? That's going to be a lot of fun at Sports Grill to have a little breakfast and the Dolphins. All right, we'll pack that place up. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. A lot of tired eyes are going to be walking in at 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning to have a little breakfast, but it'll be fun. WKM says, Big O, I love what you did in your YouTube channel. It is great to have the interviews and segments. You are the best. Saludos, mi hermano. Thank you. We're starting to do that. Bill Preston, actually, who is working a little bit behind the scenes and helping out the show. He is elevated himself and doing a little video now. So, yes, we are now starting to put the individual interviews. We haven't gotten to the point where we put the rants up yet, but we'll get there. Let's see. Wham MP says, preach. A butthole is a butthole. Appreciate you, Big O. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Josh says, join my fantasy league. What is it, a football league? Do me a favor. Send me the link at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Okay? I haven't joined any leagues, so why not? Have some fun. Okay? Send it to me. Big O Radio Show at Yahoo. And remember, you guys can chime in on the YouTube chat board, and we thank all of you for tuning in. You can reach out on Twitter at Big O Show, Yahoo email, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com, and then, of course, Cash App and Venmo. Always, you can support us there. Cash Big O Show is the address. That's Cash Big O Show. F the Broncos. They always screw us. 98 divisional playoffs last year. The Javonte Williams pick. F the Broncos. Okay? All right. Irving wants to make sure you all know F the Broncos. Okay? Hank Goldberg's Left Nut says, what local channel will have the Finns game Saturday? I would imagine 4, dude. I would think so. I know it's on NFL Network, but that is shown as blacked out here. At least on Dish Network, can't find local coverage listed. I think it's got to be Channel 4, my man. I'm pretty sure of that. Now, Chicago's NFC, would it be on Fox then? Well, it would only has to be on 4, worst case scenario 7, because it's a Chicago team, so maybe it's an NFC opponent. Maybe. Not exactly sure. I haven't even thought that far ahead. You're awesome. You're already thinking that. What else do we have that I wanted to talk about here on the show? Let's see. Panthers, Reds. We talked a little bit about that. Oh, sad for Raekwon McMillan. Raekwon McMillan ended up tearing his ACL. And you know what's the screwed up part about Raekwon McMillan tearing his ACL? Is that it happened on special teams. And you remember that when Raekwon got drafted, he got hurt on the first play on a special teams play. He blew out a knee ligament right there, covering a kickoff. And same thing happened with the Patriots. McMillan, who had a strong first impression on Belichick, was on his way to carving a notable role in his first year with the team. He tore his ACL in a recent practice and was placed on IR. He entered the NFL as a second-round draft choice of Miami in 2017. He played last season for the Vegas Raiders, signed a one-year, $1.1 million deal with the Patriots. This past Monday, McMillan was a top performer at practice with 2 pass breakups. Belichick also praised him, saying, "I've been very impressed with his intelligence, his work ethic. He's locked in every day." McMillan suffered a torn ACL in his rookie season as well. Wasn't projected as a starter in the team's base defense, but given the variety of packages the team plays, he was expected to be a part of various game plans on a week-to-week basis. On Tuesday, McMillan walked slowly off the field after pulling up while covering a punt, then departed with the medical staff. That dude has got to hate special teams, right? Because I'm pretty sure it was with the Dolphins. It was covering a kickoff. It was like the first play of the game, the kickoff, and boom, McMillan went down. And it was like, oh, God, man, do we have to lose the kid like right here on the first play? And he suffers another one covering a punt. Man. And he's a good young man. I know he's got some limitations, but he's got a role. And it's it reminds me a lot of Bernardrick McKinney. It reminds me of Brandon Spikes. It's not a guy that's really going to be a great pass rusher. It's not a guy that really can go cover people, but against the run, playing alongside that line of scrimmage, he is very good at doing that. And that's kind of what Raekwon is. He's also one of those guys that you probably use more on a 2-down basis. And I saw that he ended up suffering that injury, and that just absolutely sucks. Really does, man. What a shame. The other thing that Marquis Post ends up, passing away over the weekend. And Marquis Post, by the way, was 70 years old. And I got to give John Larroquette a lot of love. He had a really nice post about her and talking about, the kind of person she was, her comedic timing and all that kind of stuff. And I know those of us that watched Night Court, it was a great show. It was a funny show. And I know she was the hottie on the show. I get that. But she was a good actress. And she had a heck of a career overall. But I saw that over the weekend. One of our guys, I think it might have been Herman, I think, that might have sent it to me on Twitter, and Marquis Post passing away. What a shame, man. 4-year battle with cancer. Wow. You hear that, and it's like, can we solve this cancer thing once and for all? Is there any way we can fix this cancer thing? Because it kind of sucks to have to watch people pass away and battle this cancer. And so many human beings are losing this battle all over the world. I wish we can solve it. John Larroquette, who was on that terrific series, said her grace, her warmth, her intelligence, her compassion, her optimism, her empathy, her humility, her love and devotion to her family, and her flawless comic timing, her beauty, her laugh, and more. John Larroquette put. and Markie Post. And for those of you that may not know who she is, there's Markie Post. Beautiful woman, man. Beautiful woman. Rest in peace. What else do we have here? We got a couple things here on Twitter. Alan Zombie Finn says, if Michael Irvin got in with his coke problems, why not the Marx brothers? I think the personality of Michael Irvin too. You know, because Michael Irvin was one of those guys that was always on camera. The Marx brothers are not on camera. They're not on TV. They're not on the NFL network. They're not breaking anything down. They kind of like, they retired and then disappeared into the spotlight, disappeared out of the spotlight. So again, I can't answer. I'd love to tell you that, this is, how is it that one group of people are in and not another group of people are in? I can't answer it because I know he belongs there. Big John Stud, thank you, sir, giving us a little love on the super chat. And let me see what we got here. He's got a question. He says, Big O, what do you think of Yurt? You think that the Heat found, you're talking about, you're thinking that he found another gem. You're talking about Omer Yurtseven, Yurtseven, right? That's how it is. He signed with the Heat. He's on the 15-man roster for the 21-22 season. He has played well in the summer league. Yeah, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you about Omer. Okay? He possibly could be a player. I'm not overlooking. That's why I love watching summer league, because the Heat can find talent. They can find Udonis Haslem, right? They can find Hassan Whiteside, even though he's a pain in the ass and a clown and all that, but he was a find in a way, right? But they find guys. Duncan Robinson, obviously, there's a guy that they found. And they do this all the time. And they find guys, and you just never know. They might be key role players. They might be a key bench player. They might end up becoming a frontline player. You never know. Duncan Robinson, 5 years, $90 million. Udonis Haslem's been on the team for 20 years. You just never know. So there's no way that's the one thing we can't say, who cares about summer league? Those are just scrubs. Well, dude, you don't follow the Heat then, because the Heat can find people, and you just never know what ends up happening. Breonte Weber was one of those kids that I became a big fan of because defensively he had it down pat. And all you had to do was kind of, hopefully sharpen the offensive skills, but they couldn't, unfortunately, to the point. Now, he still bounced around in the league. He has actually played for several NBA teams. Shows Patrick Beverley was a guy that was in a Heat summer league and didn't make it, but then has gone on to have one hell of an NBA career. So I don't know. I don't know if Omer is going to become the guy, but I'll say this. I like what I see from the kid. Let's see if he can actually translate now to the NBA and be able to do that. And that's another reason why I love watching Heat Summer League, because there's actual substance to it. There might be like a gem that we don't know about. So it's pretty cool to have that. All right, remember, you can reach out to us on the chat board there, on the YouTube chat board. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. It is very, very important that you smash the like button and help us out there. And let's see if we can get to we're at 149 right now. Let's see if we can get to 200. All right, let's smash the like button. Help us get to 200. Jose Santiago says, McMillan, another Greer bust. Give up a premium pick in a loaded 22 draft with super seniors for Eichmann to protect the blind side, but another scouting miss. Gets moved to G. Yep, it was a scouting miss. But do you mention like finding Van Ginkel in the 5th round? Do you mention X in the 2nd round? No, you don't want to mention any of that? Do you mention that he hired Flores? Like he found the head coach? And if he found Tua, so he's the only GM outside of Shula, but he was the coach. In other words, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. So if he hit on Tua and he hit on Flores, he's the only GM in Miami Dolphins history that found a coach and a quarterback. But you want to hang on to Raekwon McMillan? Knock yourself out, my brother. Knock yourself out. See, these are the kind of Dolphin fans that are just waiting for something negative to pounce when there's more positives than negative. Because since the guy took over, they went from 5 to 10 wins, and they're a playoff contender. But he wants to complain about Raekwon McMillan. Jose Santiago, sad, bro. Sad, bro. You live a very sad Dolphins life. At this point, you should be celebrating Chris Grier, not bashing Chris Grier. That's the best GM you've had since Don Shula. Okay? All right? But whatever. You want to hang on to Raekwon McMillan? You go ahead, dude. Knock yourself out. Live off of Raekwon McMillan. But don't talk about all the other good things that he's done, right? Yeah. Screw it. What the hell? You know? Dieter. People are giving up on him. Maybe he ends up becoming a starting center. So all of a sudden that draft pick works out. But no, live off of Raekwon McMillan. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go. Well, why don't you just throw in, a terrible contract to Van Noy too, and Flowers? Let's go. Yeah. Because of course, you know how to pick the next GM that will never make a mistake. That every pick will be right. Every free agent that they sign will be perfect. Every street free agent that they sign will be perfect. Every coach that they hire will be perfect. Okay. All right. Do me a favor, Jose. When you find that GM, please bring him on. Let's go. Troy Ortiz says, is it time for Haslam to retire? Is he making that cash grab till he's 50? Yeah, he'll make that cash grab till he's 50. Do you blame him? Now, listen, if you get 15 players better than him, then you need to move on. But they haven't been that deep that the three guys that stay in suits, that, oh my God, he's taking away a spot. They haven't gotten to that point yet. Mulan says, no word on Hunter, but if it was good, I think we would have heard by now. Yeah, it sucks, man. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. No, but you know what? Wait a minute. Jose Santiago, just for you, buddy. They drafted Hunter Long and he just got injured. You can now pick on Chris Grier for drafting that kid. There you go. He drafted an injury-prone tight end. Go for it, Jose. Knock yourself out. Raging Dolphin Maniac says there are people who just love to complain. Chris Johnson, code 818, says McMillan can only stop the run. Do your homework, foo. I think that's what I said, but I don't know if you're talking to me or talking to the other guy. Let's see. It could be me because, I'm called a fool all the time. That's a Pats fan talking, hoping McMillan is the best. Oh, okay. I got you now, Chris. Pretty sure Goldie is calling the games on CBS 4. Yeah, he is calling the games. I'm pretty sure it's CBS 4. I'm with you. I don't think the preseason they do that CBS Fox thing. I think it's all CBS on preseason. If it was a regular season, then maybe the Chicago game would be on Fox. I got to think it's on Channel 4, dude. I really do. Leon Fresco, thank you, sir, giving us a little love on the Super Chat. Thank you, sir. Very nice of you. Very nice. Let's see. Marlins theme song, Don't Give Up on Us, baby. Charles Cooper says, on Fox in Chicago. Yeah, no, but in Chicago, you're an NFC town because of the Bears. We're an AFC town. So I could see where in Chicago, they're watching their Bears on Fox, but in Miami, we're watching our Dolphins on CBS. I'm pretty sure that's how it works out when it's all said and done. I think. Uber Beaner says, I pity the fool. I'm talking about the fool crying about McMillan. You know this to complain about McMillan, right? Yeah, how can we complain if we're Dolphin fans right now? Right? That's the way I look at it. I'm sorry. I mean, I love what's going on with the Dolphins now, man. This is a completely different Dolphin organization. This is fun to watch. I was so frustrated for many years, as you all know. Some of you got all pissed off at me because I was ripping the team constantly, but what else can I do? They suck and they were ridiculous. They did so many stupid things that the only thing I can do is rip them. I couldn't praise them. I have some people that are still freaking out that I'm praising them all the time. They think like it was an act before, and then they think this is another act now. And it's like, do you know me? I don't do that kind of stuff. I just tell you like what I see. That's it. Period. End of story. Do I want X to be a nice dude and stay, here forever and put his name in the Ring of Honor and help the Dolphins win a Super Bowl? Hells to the yeah. But I can't control the contract complaining. I can't control any off the field issues. I can't control his knee surgeries. I can't control his situation. I can only tell you what I think could end up happening and the many directions that it could go in. That's all I can do. But it's not an act. I'm not trying to create some kind of controversy or something like. I don't need to get clicks. You know what I mean? I don't need to keep getting on here every day and saying, oh, Tua, I'm worried. Oh, they could be trying to trade for Deshaun Watson so I can start getting clicks. Oh, there you go. And I start talking Deshaun Watson. Oh, man, I'm not doing that. I'll leave that to Pro Football Talk, and I'll leave it to Adam Beasley to go after the clickbait stuff. Don't need that. No act here, man. I'm brutally honest of what I may be wrong in what I see. I may be right whatever I see, but I'm just telling you brutally what I think it is. That's it. Libardo says Dolphin fans are just used to suffering, going to take a while to adjust. It's hard to believe we are actually heading in the right direction. Go Fins. I can't argue with that. He's 1,000% right. And we've talked about this also on the show. Like I've told you guys to let go of the past, let go of the past, let go of the past, because you're so used to the failure. You're so used to the incompetence. You're so used to the constant mistakes and all that. So you kind of feel like that's what's coming. And that's just not the case anymore. It's a really good football team now. We're going to have a lot of fun now. You know what it is? This is our time now. That's it. As Dolphin fans, this is our time. We went through all the bull crap. Okay, we've gone through all the bad coaches and the bad GMs, and we had our bad cycle after going through a 30-something year cycle of just awesome, right? Because that's how I grew up from the early 70s till the early 90s. It was just good. You don't have to win a title every year, but more often than not, you had a winning season. More often than not, you were one of the better teams in the league. More often than not, you were in the playoffs. You went to a few Super Bowls. You won a couple. So there was a lot of success during that time. And then we've gone through this hell from the mid-90s on for 25 years now that they couldn't get anything right. And Jimmy did a little bit with the defense, but overall, he was a severe disappointment with the Dolphins. Congratulations, Hall of Fame, everything you did with the Cowboys, all of that. But you're not in the Hall of Fame because of what you did with the Dolphins, because you did pretty much nothing with the Dolphins. You did a good job of building a defense, but you didn't win squat. You were embarrassed almost every time in the playoffs, and it was terrible. So I get it. We're kind of used to that. It's different now, man. It's a whole different ballgame now. Oh, do you like the contract that the Dolphins did with Xavier, and that the contract had a ton of incentives that he had to meet? Anthony, you need to listen to the beginning of the show. We talked about it then. So rewind, and you can go back and you'll hear my comments on it. And I do have some stuff that I guess some folks didn't see coming. So you may want to listen because there's some stuff there. Steve on Twitter says, Big O, listening to you as always. Just finishing work here in France. So the difference is good to listen. Keep up the good stuff. Wow, you're all the way in France. Nice job by you, sir. I just saw a movie that had to do with France. I saw this movie called The Vault, and it's the kid that plays the good doctor, I think it's called, that he's kind of like he's what's that called? He's got like that social it's like a social disorder of, he doesn't really connect with people well. He doesn't work with people well. I think it's called The Good Doctor. And so he's supposedly a really smart guy, and they need to break into this safe that I don't want to give too much away, but anyway, it was about, they were in France and in London and all that kind of stuff. So I had to do a little bit with France. It was actually, I actually enjoyed the movie. Watched it last night with the wife, and it was good. You know what I saw on Friday? I watched 2 episodes, and then Saturday we watched the other 4. Is Billy Corbin's new, what's it called? Cocaine Cowboys. I forgot the name of it now, but the latest one, and it was awesome, dude. Wow. Billy Corbin is so good. He and his staff of putting together the storyline with the interviews and the pictures and everything to tell the story of what went on behind the scenes. And those of us that were not necessarily living that life, but we saw that life all over the streets of Miami back in the 80s. Okay, those of us that were partying and going to clubs in the early 80s to late 80s, we kind of saw a lot of that up front. You know what I mean? Not that you were involved in it. You didn't have to be involved in it, but you kind of knew, and it stood out. That lifestyle was there. And so it's just kind of interesting when you lived in that era down here, and then you watch and you learn about all the stuff that went on behind the scenes throughout. And it is an amazing storyline with Sal and Willie Falcone and all the things that they did and they were going through with the cops and all that. Like it was impressive. Okay. And it was also impressive what a dumbass Sal was too. That was the other thing. That's actually the level of stupidity that guy showed. I don't want to give away too much. I'm just saying. I mean, he could have gotten away with a lot more if he was actually smarter, believe it or not. So who knows? I don't want to get too much into it because then I start giving away things. But if you enjoyed any of the other, films that he's done about the Cocaine Cowboys, you will love this one. Okay? Absolutely love it. He's got tons of characters that were involved in all of this, talking about it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And that what is it? Tabby or Taggy or Tag? I forgot the guy's name. That dude held up, bro. He looks good, man. And the blonde that he was involved with, she looks good too, man. Sometimes there is a couple of some of you out there, you got some great genes, man, and you're able to age really, really well. You know what I'm saying? So there were a couple of people that I was kind of impressed with. King Short says, so glad Dan never put on purple. I'm with you there. Although I hated his ending with Jimmy. Dan Marino deserves so much more. That's the one thing that I wouldn't mind if you told me he was going to win a title somewhere else. I almost don't mind him getting traded instead of going through the BS that he went through with Jimmy. Because Jimmy, you know what? As much as Jerry Jones has come and had the mea culpa moment now in the last week and crying like a bumbling idiot about screwing it up with Jimmy, which, kudos to him. He finally admitted that he's an idiot and then finally allowing Jimmy to get into the Ring of Honor. Okay, the same way Jerry Jones mishandled and he apologized and all that, Jimmy Johnson needs to apologize to Dan Marino. Okay? He needs to go to Dan Marino's home, and if Dan Marino wants to lower the bridge and let him walk over the moat and in, Jimmy needs to go over there and personally apologize to Marino for how crappy he handled the ending of his career and how he moronically took everything away from Marino to lessen the offense. Okay? So as much as we can give Jerry credit for finally having the mea culpa moment and admitting that he was an idiot, and kudos to him finally for admitting it, and finally for burying the hatchet, and finally for putting Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor. Well, Jimmy Johnson needs to have his own mea culpa. He needs to apologize he should apologize to Dolph fans, first of all. But you know what? We're not important. Dan Marino's the important one that you need to apologize to, because you screwed that guy at the end. You made him go through a hell that he didn't have to go through. And you were also a terrible coach for actually ruining your own offense. What you should have done is what Dungy did with Tampa. Dungy didn't go fix. Dungy did with Indianapolis. He didn't go fix the offense. There's nothing wrong with the offense. He had to improve the defense. John Gruden, who can't coach, but I give him credit at least. When he got there, he inherited a legendary defense, and at least he added the right pieces on offense that all you needed was to score a couple of points with that defense. So, in my eyes, while Jimmy's here, he's having his emotional moments and, what's that quality time left and all that crap that he was talking about and all that. Well, you know what? Now that you got some quality time, take a quality moment to go apologize to Dan Marino and Weston. Do me a favor, Jimmy. Okay? Don't apologize to me. Don't apologize to Dolph fans. We're good, bro. We're fine. But you better apologize to Dan Marino, because what you did to him was unacceptable in my eyes. Because I covered every moment of that. I was in the locker room for all that stuff. And I was at that game for 62-7. And that was a punch in the gut. And after 62-7, Dan Marino stood there, pissed off, took questions, even snapped at, what's the name of the reporter that he went to New York. He left here and went to New York. Oh, God, I'm trying to remember. I'm brain farting now. Oh, man. Deuces Rogers. Deuces Rogers left here and went to New York. Deuces Rogers asked him a question, and Dan rarely snaps back at anybody publicly in the media. Yeah, on the field it was one thing, but publicly, never. And he was pissed. Meanwhile, Jimmy comes up to the podium and makes a 45-second statement, sticks his tail between his legs and walks away and doesn't have the balls to take any questions. But Dan Marino had to take the bullets for 4 years for Jimmy Johnson. So, I'll tell you, that's one thing that will bother me for a long, long time. You see how that guy is worried about Raekwon McMillan? I'm pissed about how Marino ended his career. And he had no business ending it like that. He deserved a lot better than that. For what he did for us, I'm sorry. That part I'll never forgive Jimmy for that. Ever. No way. Let's see. Oh, why does the NBA have a double standard when it comes to tampering rules? They're going to fine Miami and Chicago, but they're going to let the Lakers off scot-free with no penalties. Is that for you? Is that fair to you? Dude, they reversed CP3's deal to the Lakers. What are you talking about? You know how much that set the Lakers back at that moment? The NBA is the NBA. Don't make it look like they're picking sides. They're just equally screw-ups when it comes to this kind of stuff. Everybody tampers in this league. It's stupid that they're going to go after Miami or somebody else. But in the end, let me relax your worries about the Heat. Okay? What are they going to do? Fine Mickey Harrison? $1 million? 5, 10? Whatever, bro. You think I'm going to worry about Mickey Harrison having to pay a fine? Screw that. That's like Jorge Mas having to pay a $350,000 fine to the MLS. Drop in the well, please. Not worried about that. What are they going to do? Take away a draft pick in 2029? So they're going to take out a 2029 second-round pick? The Heat doesn't have draft picks for like the next 35 years. They've done so many of these disastrous moves to give away all these picks that they've got no picks left. That's why they can't acquire young stars, because they have no ammo whatsoever. So they had to settle for this. They had to go with a whole bunch of old guys and try to, win 90s basketball in 2020s. So in the end, dude, don't worry about it. Whatever money they find Mickey Harrison, if they find him, he can more than afford it. It won't be an effect to him. And if it's a draft pick, it's probably going to be a second rounder. And it's so long from now, and they have no picks anyways for years to come. Who cares, bro? It's not a big deal. But I will say it is ridiculous, because the NBA is ridiculous when it comes to their, sketchy rules. And we'll talk to Ira Winderman about that tomorrow here on the program, because Ira will join us. Alan Poupart will also join us for the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. And remember, for those of you that are maybe just tuning in, have just picked up the show, Ira Winderman is on Tuesdays and Fridays to give you all the Heat insight that you need. On Wednesdays from 10 to 11 for 1 complete hour, Ira Winderman is on along with Clay Ferraro inside the paint. So they break everything down, Miami Heat and NBA. Football-wise, we got a ton of stuff. Omar Kelly joins us for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on Mondays and Fridays, 10:30 in the morning. Alan Poupart is our latest addition. He is also providing us Dolphins Insight on Tuesdays and Saturdays. For now, Saturdays we will have a 1-hour show like we did this Saturday. So Tuesdays and Saturdays, his report will move over to Sundays once we start doing pre- and post-game shows. Okay? So he will give us the Sports Grill Miami Dolphins Insider Report. And we are adding something else. Hopefully by the end of the week, I will have the news of something else that we're adding here on the program. Okay? So we are absolutely loaded on this show. Plenty of insiders exclusively here where you can't catch them anywhere else. And we're providing everything that you need, I think, locally. King Short says, Cecil the Diesel, man, wasted talent. Damn shame. P-Brain. That's the problem with Cecil Collins. Anthony says, as a Marlins fan, do you think the team realized that last year was an aberration in terms of making the playoffs and they came back down to earth and realized we're still rebuilding? Anthony, I would be incredibly disappointed in them as baseball people if they bought into the bullshit last year. Okay? By the way, let's be fair. You bought into the bullshit with the Heat too? Because that was a total fluke last year also. The Heat last year was this year's team. Just things, good Lord was on their side, and they could have won it, by the way. If they stay healthy, they might have even had a shot at winning it. But it was all flukish. That wasn't a real thing. All fluke. So I hope the Heat wasn't buying, and some of you I know were buying and thought that they were that when they weren't. But whatever. It is what it is. So I don't know how you look at it, but they weren't also buying. You know what I mean? So if the Marlins staff actually looked at last year and really thought that's who they were, it's a 60-game season. And in baseball, anything can happen. So I hope they're not that stupid and they actually looked at last year like, yeah, this is who we are. No, they're not. So I don't know. They've been they don't spend any money, dude. I've already posed this question several times. There's three teams they can be, right? One of them they'll never be. They're not going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Cubs and the Astros. They're not going to be that team that can spend a lot of money and buy several players. They're never going to be that. So let's take that out of the equation. So there can only be two teams now. All right? The first team is one that can actually spend on a couple of players and then draft and develop the rest. Okay? They can't have the $200 million payroll, but they've got to be somewhere in the mid 100s. Somewhere there, 130, 140, 150, maybe even 160 or something. I know they're not going to get to 200 and 210 and 220 and 230. They're not going to be that team. Okay? So I get it. But they've got to be able to be that team at least. Or are you going to be the Kansas City Royals of a couple of years ago or the Marlins of 2003, where you basically got there with a whole bunch of young guys, sprinkled in with a couple little veterans, not much, not a ton of salary, and you hit lightning in a bottle. And it was a magical season that Dontrell Willis had a year of all years. You called up this kid named Miguel Cabrera, who's a flat-out young superstar, who's fearless and can look at Roger Clemens in the eye and say, oh, you're going to throw at my head? Okay, watch me deposit this in right field on your fat ass. And sure enough, that's exactly what he did. Rare you find those kind of guys. You know what I mean? But the Marlins, you had a manager that didn't even know the players' names. I mean, to this day, some of you actually think he's a great manager when he's totally lucky. He's a mediocre manager, average on his best day. He was just along for the ride, baby. That's all, but he's lovable, and the cigars and, you know, the old man, no filter stuff. And so we all fall in love with that. But if anybody thinks that Jack McKeon is this great manager or something, please. But whatever, we buy whatever we buy. So if the Marlins bought anything last year, then I can tell you they will never succeed as an organization. Because anybody with common sense knows they weren't that team last year. Just like anybody with common sense has to look at the Heat team and say, complete fluke, what happened last year in the bubble. It was just one of those flukes that you better take advantage, because this is the only time you're going to show up there. All righty. I don't know if I have left anything out that I should talk about. No, that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. One guy says F the Astros. GP trap. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here on the show. I want to thank all of you out there, as always, for locking it in. If you're downloading the podcast, thank you. Please smash the hell out of the like button. If you're about to turn it off, smash the like button before you get out. We really appreciate it. We will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. And by the way, thanks to Ed Marti, Dominic, Big John, Leon Fresco, for giving us some love on the Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App. Remember, Cash Big O Show is the address. Thank you all. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.